Our boy wakes up in a strange fantasy city completely disoriented. His head is pounding, last he remembers he was just finishing up at the office. In a flashback, he is stretching at his desk about to submit his latest work. Then a massive bolt of lightning zapped him right out of his chair. He recognizes the little wolf as his own design but is baffled why it is barking like a dog. Suddenly, a huge explosion rocks the alleyway just ahead of them. His little creation just nopes out of there by phasing through a solid wall. Cautiously, he peeks around the corner to see what all the chaos is about. A huge goon with a glowing red eye is cornering some poor guy protecting a cat. This dude is panicking, his big dream was just to join their mythical beast society. But the big guy just scoffs, saying their society is way too elite for a nobody. This guy and his cat share the exact same "we are about to die" expression. As the goon attacks, the little white wolf easily dodges, impressing our boy. His shirtless buddy volunteers for the job with a very detailed, very public humiliation plan, and the Mohawk goon immediately launches a ridiculously high kick. But our boy steps in, catching the kick with one hand like it is absolutely nothing. This thug is stunned by his power, and even our ZZ is wondering where this strength came from. After checking on the guy he saved, he tells him to just leave the trash behind. And yeah, the Mohawk guy is officially taking that personally. This boss just smirks, confirming that his boy Kaz is now seriously pissed off. ZZ is absolutely losing it, screaming for his beast to come out, and he summons a giant flaming bronze kangaroo. Okay, sure, this guy fuses with it, getting some sweet boxing gloves and a serious power-up. Our boy is just having a total "what is this world" crisis right now. Meanwhile, the guy he saved is screaming at him to run because they are outmatched. While fleeing, he gets a crash course on how beast masters fuse with their partners. Apparently, their little rookie beasts are no match for a bronze-level threat. Then the dude has the nerve to blame our MC for starting the fight in the first place. This kid just wanted to be left alone, but now he is a target. Up in the air, Kaz prepares a devastating dive bomb attack, which lands with a massive explosion right behind them. This cat lover is still trying to get him to escape, but our MC is not budging. Mohawk Man calls them trash, but our boy claps back about the society's duty. Laying it on thick, he calls out anyone who treats life so cheaply. This goon just cackles, spouting some might makes right villain nonsense. With that, he lunges in for the kill, telling the poor guy to just die. But our MC intercepts the punch with one hand, stopping it cold. This shockwave sends Kaz flying back into another fiery explosion. Frustrated, our boy wishes he had powers, then realizes he just heard thoughts. His little wolf confirms it telepathically, only to get called clunky. He names his little wolf Haku, ready to fight together. This power-up completely stuns Kaz, who realizes he is a new beast master. And bam, our boy gets a full-on magical boy transformation, fusing with his beast. He feels a legendary power awakening, wondering if Haku is an infinite warg. Blue energy crackles in his hand as he understands their perfect sync unlocks true power, but Kaz just laughs it off, calling his rookie beast trash before lunging in. Hyuga stops the punch with a casual face grab, calling out his weak point. Then he one-shots the kangaroo man right in the gut. After the fight, he introduces himself as Hyuga to the guy he saved, Aikido. Meanwhile, Kaz is fuming in a crater, unable to process how a rookie beat him. He powers up again with dark energy, promising to crush them for real this time. Our boy just gives him the most unimpressed side-eye in history, and immediately follows up with another brutal energy-infused punch. Standing over him, Hyuga drops some wisdom about not listening to his beast's voice. Kaz just scoffs, insisting beasts are just tools and feelings are for losers. At that exact moment, his kangaroo beast just pieces out, leaving him powerless. This boss explains the obvious: the beast left because he treated it like a thing, leaving Kaz absolutely speechless at the betrayal. This boss then strolls up to Hyuga and Aikido, asking if they are the ones responsible, and then he offers them a spot in the Mythical Beast Society, the ultimate plot twist. We cut to the majestic headquarters of the Mythical Beast Society, looking surprisingly peaceful. And it turns out the boss has brought them to a massive recruitment exam with hundreds of other hopefuls. Aikido is absolutely losing his mind with joy, shaking some poor dude until he is dizzy. After a quick apology, he asks Hyuga what this whole society thing is even about, so Aikido gives him a crash course on the continent's 4 factions. Apparently, 3 big principalities were locked in endless war for thousands of years, until a legendary beast master named Ryanheim showed up with his lion and ended the conflict. His whole philosophy was the strong protect the weak, though his lion looks completely over it. Akito is sparkling with hero worship, declaring his dream is to be just like him. Hyuga actually mulls it over, thinking this whole hero gig might not be so bad after all. Suddenly, the stage lights flare to life, signaling the start of the event. This boss addresses the crowd, saying a kind heart alone is not enough to join. You also need overwhelming power, which he says while holding a sword bigger than a person. This exam seems to involve some kind of chaotic elemental arena. He lays out the brutal stakes: only 9 people will be recruited across the islands. There is just one rule to this whole battle royale: no murdering each other, please and thank you. And with a single word, the exam officially begins. This entire crowd immediately stampedes forward in a mad dash for glory. Akito is all fired up, ready to tackle the challenge with his new buddy Hyuga. But some guy already has a head start, summoning a fiery goblin beast to leap ahead. This goblin-looking dude just eats himself over the water, leaving everyone in the dust. Suddenly, a mysterious lure splashes down right in the middle of the arena, and the goblin guy is literally standing on the water, looking smug as hell. Everyone else is just losing their minds, convinced he is cheating somehow. Turns out he is just surfing on a giant fish beast, classic loophole. His fish beast then launches them both high into the air, but a massive crocodile monster erupts from below, ready for a snack. It just straight up devours his ride, sending the poor goblin flying. Before he can even scream, a whip-wielding woman snags him right out of the air. And just like that, he is all tied up and out of the competition. She coolly informs him he is disqualified, not a single ounce of pity. Then she adds a casual death threat if he tries anything else stupid. Akito is immediately starstruck while Hyuga looks completely over it. Hyuga's more concerned about the giant crocodile just chilling in the water. Akito explains it is a territorial magical beast, a sharp-toothed crocodile. A new white-haired woman appears, explaining magical beasts are just as powerful. Hyuga has no idea who this new info dumper is. She just straight up offers to team up with them, saying it is too difficult alone. Meanwhile, other contestants are getting absolutely cooked, proving her point. Hyuga's immediately suspicious, asking why she chose them out of everyone here. She bites her finger, suddenly getting an idea. A massive fire whip thingy just zips past them on the water. Her pitch is simple. Their cat and dog beasts are perfect for her team, except it is a wolf, thanks. Introducing herself as Flora, she just appoints herself leader, and Akito is 100% on board. With that settled, she points to their goal, the floating sun island. But the second they land, they are ambushed by another team who is already passed. This new duo is just here for fun, not to actually join the society. This poor guys just want to know what the hell they want. And this psycho just wants to see how strong their monkey fusion is by beating them up. He immediately summons his iron red monkey, crackling with power. Then he gathers a huge ball of electrical energy. This dude is clearly having way too much fun with this whole beatdown. His victims try to rally for a group attack, bless their hearts, and they all charge forward in a desperate attempt to survive, which ends with all of them getting zapped into oblivion instantly. His armored buddy tells him to wrap it up in 5 seconds. And Reito agrees, calling everyone else here total small fry. Turns out the big guy was never interested in these guys, just someone else. One of the down guys tries to appeal to the rules, the examiners, but Reito just grins, reminding him the only rule was no murdering, this is fine. Reito's armored buddy senses our crew approaching, asking if they should avenge Kaz, but then he just decides Kaz was trash anyway, getting hyped for a more entertaining fight. Meanwhile, Hyuga's team arrives to find the previous group of contestants totally wiped out. They land on the scene, taking in the absolute carnage left by the two psychos. Our boy and Akito share a look, realizing exactly what kind of mess they have stumbled into. Flora plays innocent, wondering aloud who could have possibly done all this, just as the culprits welcome them from the base of a giant tree, real casual-like. Reito and his friend are just chilling, looking way too pleased with their handiwork. Hyuga immediately calls them out, asking why they'd attack others when they are clearly strong enough to pass. This big guy's only interested in fighting, and since Hyuga beat Kaz, he is the new main event. With that, he summons his gold lion beast, ready for a fusion power-up. His transformation completes with a seriously evil grin, inviting them to their doom. Then he lunges forward, demanding they give him a good fight, surrounded by dark purple energy. Not one to back down, Hyuga calls on Haku to fuse and meet the challenge head-on. This lion man throws a massive clawed punch right at him, and Hyuga, now in his own fused form, catches it with a burst of blue energy. Flora immediately rallies Akito, saying they need to jump in and help, but Reito cuts them off, telling them to be good kids and just watch his bro fight. Hyuga asks if this is all revenge for that kangaroo bastard, Kaz. This lion man just scoffs, calling revenge stupid as he shoves our boy back. This lion man gets weirdly philosophical, demanding to know what Hyuga thinks beasts are. Our boy is just trying to process this mid-fight existential crisis. Then we get a flashback to the lion man's tragic origin, getting bullied in an alley. His lunch gets kicked over, the ultimate crime. At that moment, his own little lion beast leaps in to steal the spilled food, which immediately devolves into a cartoonish dust cloud brawl. After getting wrecked, he just accepts his fate, figuring being eaten is better than starving. But the little beast just pushes the food back to him, a total bro move. He completely misreads this, thinking the beast sees his hidden potential. So they just sit there and share the meal, a surprisingly wholesome moment. This guy even bows, promising to make the beast strong, and the little guy looks so proud. Back in the present, his philosophy is now beasts are weapons you level up, which is a choice. Hyuga is getting absolutely overwhelmed by this guy's dark energy. This lion man calls him a naive dreamer for treating his beast like a partner. With a final massive shove, he declares the fight is over, and he slams Hyuga into the ground with a huge boom. He walks off, calling the whole thing a boring fight, real classy. But then he stops, sensing something is not quite right. Hyuga is already getting back up, and the lion man actually seems impressed. Turns out Haku just got a mid-battle level up to bronze rank. This lion man is all smiles, saying combat is the best way to level up. But Hyuga, bleeding from the eye, is having none of that beasts or tools nonsense. He explains that taking the hit let him feel the lion's true emotions. All its affection and concern for its master, which leaves the big guy speechless. Petting Haku, our boy lectures the guy that his beast has been pushed to its absolute limit. This beast is actually more worried about him, but he is just treating it like a weapon. In fact, all the poor thing wants is a break, but its master is completely oblivious. This lecture is not well received, as the guy screams about survival of the fittest. Surrounded by dark energy, he lunges forward to shut Hyuga up for good. To his shock, Hyuga can still track his movements even though he is totally out of gas. With a burst of blue energy, Hyuga lands a solid kick right to the face, and the impact is absolutely massive. Down for the count, the Lion Man asks how Hyuga knew his weak point. Our boy explains the gap between his heart and his beasts created the opening for his win. Lying there, he finally understands how Kez lost, calling Hyuga's talent incredible. Then we get another flashback to his little lion beast looking like a total doofus. He finally gets it, the beast never wanted to be a weapon, it just wanted to be friends. As the guy has a philosophical breakthrough, Hyuga formally introduces himself. This lion man, now named Tatsuya, accepts the loss but promises he will win next time. Just then, another massive explosion rocks the island because peace is not an option. An examiner on a boat is screaming into a megaphone about an attack, which is helpful. Everyone else just panics, wondering who is crazy enough to mess with the society. Our crew is also booking it through the forest, clearly not expecting another fight, and their path is blocked by a knight on a unicorn horse surrounded by unconscious bodies. This guy calls them valuable hostages, which is never a good sign. They quickly realize his whole plan is to blackmail the society using the contestants. He confirms it, planning to tank their reputation by wiping out all the new blood. Then he offers them a deal, beat him in a fight, and they can all walk free, real generous. Not seeing any other choice, the whole team powers up for a three-way fusion. All transformed, they stand ready for a proper team battle. This knight just scoffs, daring them to actually try and fight him. Akito bravely volunteers to go first, leaping in with a claw attack, which gets immediately shut down by the knight's evil-looking lance, not even a challenge. With Akito down, Flora steps up, telling Hyuga she has got this. She materializes a massive bow, getting ready to fire, and unleashes a whole volley of feather arrows right at him. This knight just casually blocks it all with a wall of dark energy, barely impressed. His swirling shield just eats the arrows like they are nothing. His lance glows with that same terrifying red and black power, and with one swing he shatters her bow, leaving her completely defenseless. With her bow shattered, the knight easily snatches Flora up. Holding her captive, he taunts her about being the little snow hawk girl. He declares this is the end, ready to strike her down with his dark power. But Hyuga is having absolutely none of that, screaming in defiance. In a flash, our boy swoops in and carries her right out of the blast zone. Safely in his arms, she is understandably a bit flustered by the dramatic rescue. He sets her down beside their code teammate, telling her to leave the rest to him. This knight gives some condescending praise from his high horse, literally, and Hyuga calmly announces he has already figured out the guy's weakness. Overflowing with confidence, the knight dares him to try, even offering a free shot. Not one to pass up an offer like that, Hyuga powers up for the attack. This blue energy around his fist forms the roaring spectral head of Haku. With a massive punch, he connects, and the knight seems shocked by the 100% fusion rate. But our boy just smirks because that was only the opening move. Then he grabs the unicorn by its horn, shouting for it to flip over, and the entire mount gets slammed right into the ground with a massive crash. Knocked off his ride, the knight looks up in total shock, yelling impossible. Hyuga lays out the weakness. His fusion is tied to riding that mythical beast. Stunned, the knight asks how he knew, and Hyuga credits his ability to feel the beast's heart. Now the knight is just hyped, realizing Hyuga is way more interesting than he first thought. This knight immediately pivots to a job offer because why not try to recruit the guy you just tried to kill? But Hyuga is disgusted by his whole hostage-taking vibe. Our boy asks what he is even talking about, and the knight just smirks, confident now that the fusion is broken. Just then, his evil unicorn gets back up, glowing with dark power. Hyuga is completely blindsided by this sudden recovery. With a final taunt, the knight lunges in for a knockout blow, and a massive explosion sends our hero flying. He slowly wakes up to someone calling his name, only to immediately start dreaming about steamed buns, a true warrior's focus. Turns out it is just Akito and Flora, and Akito is also thinking about food. Flora is not amused, scolding him while he whines about being hungry on the floor. Looking around, Hyuga realizes they are in some kind of prison cell. Akito confirms it, they are in an underground prison on the island. Apparently, the society built this place to lock up a bunch of wild magical beasts. Hyuga tries brute forcing the bars, which goes about as well as you'd expect. Flora explains the bars are too strong, but she might have an idea. Across the room, he spots rows and rows of cages, and inside one of them is Haku along with all their other beasts. Akito points out the real problem, the beasts are sedated and way too far away to fuse with. Akito is completely losing it over Hyuga's 100% fusion rate, while Flora's just like, is that special? Flora explains it is a legendary ability, meaning he can fuse even with Haku sedated and far away. And Akito is just seething with jealousy over this ridiculously broken power. After his little pity party, he tells Hyuga to stop flexing and just break them out already. So our boy grabs the bars, focusing and calling out to Haku from across the prison. With a massive roar, he forces the long-distance fusion to activate. This transformation completes, and he is ready to bust everyone out of this joint. This immediately gets him a fan club of other prisoners begging for a rescue. Seriously, the entire cell block is now screaming for him to save them. With a massive slash of blue energy, he absolutely shreds the cell door. Now playing the role of liberator, he tells the mob to find their beasts and make a run for it. This great escape begins with a stampede of prisoners rushing for the exit. But their path is immediately blocked and they all freeze in terror. A new snake-themed villain appears and he is actually impressed by the jailbreak. One brave soul holding a pug tries to rally the troops for a group fight, bless his heart. This snake man just scoffs at the ragtag bunch and sicks his beast on them, and the entire mob gets wiped out by a single devastating tail whip. Just then, the Unicorn Knight reappears, having watched the whole show. He taunts Hyuga, asking if he has really got enough hero juice to save all these people. But Hyuga powers up for round 2, declaring he will win no matter what. This snake man is totally intrigued, daring Hyuga to show him his real power. He immediately orders his giant snake to strangle the whole team. Everyone dives for cover as the massive tail slams into the ground. Akito complains he is useless without fusing, but Flora tells him that is not the whole story. She starts calling out commands like a drill sergeant, telling Hyuga to duck and strike. Following her lead, our boy dodges perfectly and lands a clean energy slash. This giant snake actually recoils from the hit, which is a pretty good sign. Hyuga is completely baffled, wondering how she is reading its moves so easily. Not wasting a second, Flora shouts out the next order, a jump kick, and he nails it, planting his foot right on the snake's head. After the snake's head explodes, she just calls it intuition, sure Jan. This snake man is actually impressed, realizing this year's rookies are ridiculously overpowered. But he scoffs, saying they have not even seen his beast's true power yet. On cue, the snake starts glowing with some seriously evil black energy. This dark aura washes over the team, pinning them down with raw intimidation. Hyuga starts to panic, realizing this is just the beast's power alone, not even a fusion. Then the villain just calls it quits, saying his snake needs its wounds treated. He tells them to just wait quietly for the society to come get them, a totally trustworthy offer. With a final warning, he tells them not to cause any more trouble, or he will make them regret being born, because of course he will. And with that final threat, the snake man just vanishes, leaving everyone completely baffled. One of the prisoners has a full-blown meltdown, realizing they were not even worth a proper fight. Another guy, literally carrying his lion, swears revenge and says it is time to make a break for it. Suddenly, a tiny cat beast offers to guide them to the exit, which is both cute and highly suspicious. So the whole crew starts booking it down the corridor, putting all their faith in this cat. Their exit turns out to be a sheer, impossibly high cliff face. Great plan, Mimi. Without a second thought, someone starts trying to scale the vertical wall. Of course it is Akito, complaining about the climb with his little fox just chilling on his head. Up top, Flora and some other dude are just roasting him for being ridiculously out of shape. From their new vantage point, they see the real trap, a floating island surrounded by endless water. A single, sketchy-looking bridge is their only path forward, because of course it is. Flora immediately points out they are totally screwed if any water beasts decide to show up. Her companion agrees, admitting they are no match for the Unicorn Knight or the Snake Man anyway. While they wait for the others, Akito brings up the small issue of their beasts still being sedated. But Hyuga, ever the protagonist, thinks there is a secret passage and decides to check the library for clues. He walks off all cool and confident, and his new fans are completely impressed. Flora, however, is worried he has no idea how dangerous the hall actually is. Back in that hall, 3 other contestants are already knocked out cold, with the snake beast standing guard. Meanwhile, Hyuga's already crawling through a secret vent when he overhears a woman's voice. It is the Unicorn Knight, explaining to his subordinate that this whole attack is just a warning to the society. A new helmet lady is unimpressed with this year's contestants. So her partner with the giant club suggests she go test them herself. Just then, he spots a new face down below. It is a nervous-looking kid who just stumbled into the wrong room. Holding his little white beast, he tries to play it off like he is just passing through, but Helmet Lady is not buying it, taunting him about how they found him. This guy is totally baffled, wondering how she is reading his mind. She offers to show him a little trick because she is just that generous. Pulling up a live feed, she reveals she has been tracking them with a spy beast, and her partner is a tiny glowing green caterpillar, the height of espionage tech. He is amazed by the magic, but also realizes there is no way to escape. As a reward, she summons a fireball, which is a weird way to say threat. She then offers a deal, survive her attack, and she will reveal the exit. He asks if she is not worried they will just bolt, a fair question. Her partner just scoffs, saying if they can escape, they have earned it. This two of them stand there, radiating pure unadulterated smugness. Convinced their pride means they will not lie, the kid decides to take the challenge. He powers up, ready to throw down for that exit info. Lunging forward with a flurry of energy slashes, he goes on the offensive, and she is actually impressed by his speed as she counters with her whip. She is not done yet, whipping up a storm of green energy slashes. Our boy barely dodges while she taunts him for thinking he could just run out the clock. With a massive leap, she unleashes a full-power wind blade attack from the ground up. He scrambles away as the attack shreds a stone pillar, admitting she is the real deal. Her partner tells her to chill before she wrecks the whole building, but she just tells him to shut it. Desperately running, the kid tries to figure out how to even get close to her. Then he gets a brilliant, floor-breaking idea. Slamming his hands down, he channels his energy directly into the ground and rips up a massive slab of stone to use as a shield, a truly desperate play. Helmet Lady is actually impressed by the shield idea but warns him she's got more tricks up her sleeve. Her whip immediately shatters his makeshift wall into 1,000 pieces. Amidst the falling rubble, he spots an opening and prepares to charge, only to find the tip of her whip already at his throat, stopping him cold. In a flash, the whip wraps around him, turning him into a human burrito. She reveals the secret. Her spy beast lets her predict his every single move. With a boot on his head, she gloats that he is an open book, a total power move. She tells him the test is over, saying he will not get a second chance to play with her. But he is not giving up, screaming that he has not lost and calling out for his beast, Zio-Bai. He starts glowing, trying to power through the binds even as she holds him like a dog on a leash. On cue, his little white beast leaps into the fray, roaring and ready to throw down. But Zio-Bai intercepts the whip, much to Helmet Lady's surprise. This kid screams this is his final move, pouring everything he has into it. In a flash, he defuses, causing the whip's bindings to just vanish, a brilliant escape. Her partner absolutely loses it, laughing his ass off that she got played by a rookie. Just then, the Unicorn Knight appears, actually impressed by the kid's quick thinking. His helmet tumbles to the ground, revealing his face for the first time. He tells the kid he has passed, revealing the exit and telling him to go get the others. Completely exhausted, our boy finally realizes she was a proctor for the exam this whole time. This snake man strolls back in, asking why he is not putting up more of a fight. Our guy just stares, realizing if they do not want them to leave, nobody's leaving. With their cover blown, the villains just laugh, admitting he is a smart one. Meanwhile, the spy caterpillar is still broadcasting the whole drama to the rest of the contestants. Outside, Flora rallies the troops, declaring they have to go rescue their friend. Akito powers up, refusing to let some new guy steal all the spotlight. This sparks a full-blown rescue mob, all of them chanting to charge in and save him. This blue-haired proctor just smirks, noting how popular he has become. Deciding the test has served its purpose, the lead proctor moves to open the main doors. This rescue party bursts in only to find a very confused scene, no fight, just a standoff. With everyone assembled, the main proctor finally takes off his helmet and announces this whole invasion was the test, and congratulations, they all passed. This rescue party bursts in, completely baffled by the total lack of a fight. Stepping forward, the lead proctor offers to explain the whole bizarre situation. Everyone is just stunned, asking what the heck is going on with this proctor business. He explains the society needs strong members who have got each other's backs, not just lone wolves. Turns out the secret passage was a trick. Anyone who used it was automatically disqualified. But since they all came back for their boy, they proved their loyalty and are officially welcomed. Just as Flora is trying to process this whiplash, the floor starts opening up. A giant ominous staircase is revealed, leading straight down into the darkness. This proctors announce the real asterisk test starts now, a special training they cannot leave until they pass. They are given 5 minutes to head down or they are out for good, no second chances. This contestants hesitate, realizing this could be a one-way trip if they fail. Flora calls everyone out, saying they wanted to join, so now's the time to prove it. So our main trio decides to take the plunge, heading for the stairs. This lead proctor smirks, promising a surprise for the first ones to arrive. Down below is a massive hall with a library and training rooms, but he mentions a healing center, never a good sign. As they are led down a long stone corridor, the vibe gets seriously weird. Hyuga finally asks what this place is actually for. This proctor just gives them a smug grin, basically telling them to find out the hard way. Flora, never one to back down, is immediately like, "Bring it on." On cue, a volley of arrows shoots out of the wall. Welcome to training, kids. This first trap springs a hail of arrows. Flora just strolls through, completely unimpressed by the welcome party. She even takes a hit, calling it a pathetic little trick. Then she sees the one aimed right for her face. Hyuga screams her name, absolutely panicking, and a massive explosion intercepts the shot just in time. A new knight-looking dude has her, shielding her from the blast. This rest of the crew arrives, relieved to see them both safe. But Hyuga's relief quickly turns to pure rage. He tries to punch the knight for being a danger magnet, who just blocks it like it is nothing. Meanwhile, Flora's blushing and thanking her hero, which probably is not helping Hyuga's mood. This proctor lays out the next test, a hallway with dozens of traps. He cheerfully adds that the healing center can revive them if they die. How comforting. Hyuga hugs his cat, deadpanning that he is even more terrified now, and out of the ground erupts a giant, nasty-looking slime monster. This proctor stands before it, daring them to get past him. He is all rock on, telling them to show him what they have got. Suddenly, slime tendrils shoot up from the floor, catching Hyuga off guard. In a second, the slime has wrapped up the entire crew. Trapped, Hyuga calls on Zio-Bai, ready to fuse and break free. But his big fusion move totally fails, leaving him completely baffled. This proctor explains the slime monster actually blocks their fusion ability, and after a little pep talk with his slime lady, it is time for the results. Slime lady gives Hyuga an 83% compatibility score, not bad at all. Then she turns her attention to the other two contestants, still wrapped up. And she is completely stunned, revealing they are both at 100% compatibility. Hyuga and Flora cannot believe what they are hearing, because a perfect score is legendary, something she has not seen in a century. This proctor is hyped, saying they could become legends with some training. Hyuga's confused, wondering why Flora has not shown any special powers despite her perfect score, so he asks her directly, but she has absolutely no idea. Which just means her power is untapped and he is now their official instructor. He sends them off to bed, promising demonic training and ominously no breakfast. Our boy just faceplants onto the bed, completely wiped out. Lying there, he mulls over that weird no breakfast warning and just smirks, wondering what fresh hell awaits him tomorrow. Next morning, a giant metal door slams down in the training hall. Their new instructor starts the lesson, explaining what phantom beasts are. and how they can copy any power they see to use in a fight. He then breaks down their ranking system, revealing they can evolve with their masters. Their instructor kicks off Beast 101, explaining the Blood Pact is a one-and-done deal. Apparently, beasts get swole via food, training, and their master, as shown by a ripped bear in a Speedo. He explains their powers are linked, promising a shortcut to make their beasts way stronger. With a dramatic flourish, he summons his own partner, the Black Box Monster, and out pops a literal cartoon box with limbs, ordered to show them some passion. This thing immediately dive bombs our completely unprepared trio. It slams down, trapping them inside while the instructor just waits to see who breaks out first. Hugo wakes up in the dark, asking where the hell he is. In the pitch black, he spots a single source of light. He follows it to a massive, ornate door that is slightly ajar. As he approaches, the doors swing open, revealing a blinding light, and he is staring at a perfect copy of himself with a tiny Zio Bai. Our boy is completely baffled, wondering if he is looking in a mirror. Then he notices his little beast looks frail and painfully skinny. Out of nowhere, a basket overflowing with food appears before Zio Bai. This little guy's eyes turn to stars as it makes a beeline for the feast. And it finally clicks for Hyuga. Zio Bai has been fighting on an empty stomach this whole time. A quick chibai shot shows the little beast absolutely loving this all-you-can-eat buffet. As Zio Bai chows down, Hyuga feels a massive surge of power flowing into him. This basket is now empty, and Zio Bai is one very round, very satisfied-looking cat. A glowing red orb of pure energy materializes before Zio Bai, and the little guy gives it a big all-happy hug, clearly loving it. Back outside, Hyuga feels the whole box start to shake, wondering what is going on. This instructor's monster starts freaking out, asking what kind of freaks he trapped in there. He just sips his drink unimpressed, asking why it cannot handle a few newbies. His little box buddy is sweating bullets, clearly not having a good time. Suddenly, the box explodes open, launching the trio into the air. Hyuga immediately scoops up his newly fluffy beast, sobbing that he will never leave him again. This instructor just watches, thinking this emotional reunion is a little over the top. Then Flora emerges, completely transformed and glowing with power. Wait, the asterisk master evolved. This instructor is floored, realizing she has hit a whole new rank out of nowhere. Even Zio Bai has leveled up, now looking like a badass wolf cat. This instructor just face palms, complaining that none of these kids are normal. He taps on his defeated box monster, demanding to know what happened inside. A single cartoon fist punches right through the side of the box, and the box monster grabs its master in a chokehold, screaming about its trauma. It complains that Hyuga just cried and trained, filling its insides with tears. Then it whines that Flora immediately started draining its stored energy, taking half of it. But the worst was Zio Bai, who ate all its food and then tried to eat its heart, a true demon. This instructor just smirks, patting his traumatized partner and asking if it wants some payback. This instructor announces that since they have powered up, it is time for some practical training. He gives his box monster the green light to attack, just try not to kill them. With a hand on his sword, the instructor gets ready to start the show. He officially kicks off the training, and his little box buddy is absolutely feral with excitement. This box monster charges forward, screaming that it is time for them to feel its pain. In response, the whole crew immediately tries to fuse with their beasts for a counterattack. All three of them launch a coordinated assault, looking pretty impressive for a second there. But the box just leaps into the air, ready to drop on them like a ton of bricks. It slams down with a massive shockwave, completely overwhelming their combined powers. This cat-tiered guy cannot believe their team-up attack did not even scratch it. His boxy tormentor smugly explains it is because they are all pathetically low-level. Then it starts a full-on lecture about beast ranks and power accumulation. Turns out this little guy is a low-rank beast with king-level power, a total sandbagger. It unleashes a flurry of attacks, taunting that they have zero chance of winning. Hyuga yells for everyone to just dodge, realizing they are learning to handle the energy flow. Watching from the sidelines, the instructor is pretty pleased with their rapid progress. A purple-haired woman appears, and he admits he is only training them for a big reward. She is apparently his rival, declaring that the newbie training bonus is going to be hers. He asks if she has found her own team, admitting he is still one short of a full squad. With a smug look, she hints that her final recruit is about to make an appearance. This instructor is freaking out, warning his rival about some new guy with uncontrollable power. She just smirks, saying the real test is not the traps, but the person waiting at the end. And we see him, a dude literally chained to the floor, meditating. He is even being hand-fed while blindfolded, living his best life apparently. A training montage kicks off with a flash of purple energy. Turns out the chained guy is a cat boy who can just ignore attacks completely. Meanwhile, another recruit is getting absolutely jacked by lifting a ridiculously huge metal ball over and over again, and a third one is just casually nailing bullseye after bullseye. This winged archer declares she is ready for the next stage, looking unimpressed. Their final test is a long, ominous, and very empty-looking hallway. So the rival instructor's full team finally assembles, looking way too cool for school. This cat-tiered guy steps up, smugly announcing he is about to show off. He immediately fuses with his beast, popping the claws and ears. With a burst of speed, he launches himself down the corridor like a rocket. Right on cue, the first set of arrows fires from the wall, followed by a whole lot more because of course there are, but he just gracefully weaves through the deadly projectiles. He sticks a perfect 10-point landing, arms out like a gymnast, Then he turns to his team demanding they praise his glorious performance. This archer lady is all confidence, saying her team is more than ready to clear this. Meanwhile, the cat-eared guy gets a little you-tried pat on the back for his performance. She then announces they have reached the entrance to the second trial, and it is a hallway filled with giant, swinging, spiked balls of doom. This jacket guy immediately starts freaking out, asking how they are supposed to get through that. Apparently, they are not supposed to dodge. This test is all about tanking the hits head-on, so the cat-eared guy steps up, declaring he will handle the heavy lifting. As the first giant mace swings right for his head, his team just watches. He braces himself, ready to catch the full impact of the trap, and he actually stops it, earning a rare nod of approval from the archer. His teammates immediately tell him to hold it steady while they just walk on by, leaving him to fend off an entire corridor of these things all by himself. He is gritting his teeth, clearly struggling to hold his ground under the pressure, his hands getting absolutely shredded from the force of the impacts. After what looks like a brutal fight, the traps are just rubble on the floor. He is breathing hard, looking at his busted-up hands, but at least it is finally over. At the end of the hall, his team is waiting by the next door, having saved him a spot. They enter a huge chamber, wondering if the traps here are just broken from old age. But the archer lady says it is a good thing since someone else has already passed through. She points to fresh cracks on a statue, realizing they are not the first ones here, someone's clearing the path ahead. This purple-haired leader's eyes narrow, dead set on what is ahead. The archer just casually kicks a trap, blowing it to bits. Up ahead, they find another team completely wiped out, its survivors warning them about an unbeatable monster, but the purple-haired guy just blows past their warning. He grabs the poor guy for intel, only to be told to see for himself. At the end of the long hall, they finally see him. This final boss is blindfolded, eating chicken and giving a friendly wave. This is their final opponent, and our leader is understandably confused. Back with the rival instructor, she is told her team failed, but she just smirks. She asks her partner if he knows the real source of the chained guy's power, and then it is story time about god-tier beasts who can become human. Apparently there were 6, not 5, but one vanished thousands of years ago. 6 years back, she found the cause of a village's disappearance, a 12-year-old kid. Her colleague is floored, a god-tier beast left behind a descendant. When his demonic blood awakened, it drove the entire village into a frenzy. Her solution was to chain him up and use newbies to burn off his excess power, so the recruits think it is their test, but he is the one actually leveling up. Now at 18, his power is stable and he is almost ready for his big debut. Her partner gets serious, saying he feels a war brewing on the horizon. This chained-up final boss cracks a smile, telling them to stop talking and show him what they have got. So the cat-eared guy immediately charges, screaming about his pulverizing claw. He lands a clean, green energy slash right across the guy's chest, and is immediately horrified to learn his opponent's abs are literally harder than steel. This blindfolded dude just asks him to hit harder since he can totally take it. Seeing that fail, the winged archer steps up, ready to fire some explosive arrows. A whole volley of them homes in on our stationary target, who just casually snatches them out of the air, calling them pathetically slow. She just smirks, saying that was just the warm-up act. Then the arrows detonate in a massive, fiery explosion. She is feeling pretty good, explaining her special arrows can even hurt instructors. But through the smoke, a silhouette is standing there completely unfazed. He walks out of the blast without a scratch, critiquing her attack for lacking power. At last, the purple-haired leader steps forward, swirling with blue energy. He unloads a 12-punch combo right into the guy's back. Even his own teammate is worried he might have actually killed the guy, but the leader knows better, admitting it felt like punching a mountain. This chained guy just kneels and laughs, thanking them for a great workout. With all that energy spent, the shackle on his wrist finally starts to crack. And he looks up, genuinely impressed, telling them they are actually strong. This blindfolded guy grins, announcing it is time for round 2, and the leader realizes he was just toying with them. A terrifying, fiery aura explodes from him, with giant red eyes looming over the entire team. This purple-haired leader's face goes grim, finally understanding what they are truly up against. But suddenly he is in a cage, completely disoriented and confused by the change of scenery. A voice calls his name, Li Fei, from a distant tower high above the bars. It is a red-eyed dude who mocks him for even dreaming of becoming an instructor. Below, 2 goons start dumping water into his cell and he has no idea what is happening. His tormentor calls this a simple test, telling him to either pass or die right there. As the water rushes in, Li Fei is completely submerged, screaming for it to stop. He is trapped underwater, struggling desperately to stay conscious. His lungs are burning as he sinks deeper and deeper into the pit. Giving up, he thinks his journey is already over before it even began. Until a thought hits him, wait, how does that guy know his name? This is all an illusion. With newfound resolve, he channels his energy into a single, powerful fist. He unleashes a blast of power, shattering the mental prison completely. And he is back in the real world, panting on the floor in a puddle of water. Exhausted but triumphant, he realizes he actually managed to break free. This red-eyed guy is there, clapping, impressed he escaped the illusion in under a minute. Li Fei, still recovering, immediately asks how his teammates are doing. Turns out, not so great, the cat boy is having a full-on breakdown in the corner. This chain guy explains Li Fei took the brunt of the mental attack, so his team will be fine. Still absolutely furious, Li Fei winds up for another 12-punch combo. But his fist is stopped dead by a single, casual hand, and the shirtless dude just smirks, admitting he probably deserved that. Li Fei demands to know if this is how an examiner should act, asking for just one punch to vent. Turns out he is not an examiner, just a student who keeps failing, and he thanks them for the workout. With his berserk energy spent, he calmly puts his shackles back on the wall. Then he punches the floor, unleashing a massive shockwave, which completely shatters the far wall, revealing a staircase to the exit. Li Fei is just standing there, completely baffled by this turn of events. This guy calls out to someone named Zio Huo, saying it is time to leave, and a tiny, adorable little fox just pops out of the smoke. As he scoops up his pet, Li Fei realizes this guy was not even using his full power. This shirtless wonder then turns back, getting Li Fei's attention. He introduces himself as Fox, offering a one-time favor for the help. Li Fei just watches him go, thinking he has met a truly bizarre person. Suddenly remembering his team, he calls out for Luoya, the archer. He runs back to find her standing over their cat-eared teammate, and she is helping him snap out of it by grabbing his face for a punch, launching the poor guy into the air with some very aggressive therapy. Li Fei is hiding behind a wall, completely mortified by what is happening, because Luoya is holding him upside down by the ankle, looking absolutely furious. She then proceeds to body slam him into the ground, causing a literal explosion. Lying in the crater, our boy knows he needs a new plan, and fast. His archer teammate just lands, still holding him like a prize turkey. But Li Fei gets a brilliant upside-down idea, shouting now. He flips himself around, trapping her in a surprise leg lock. And just like that, the tables have completely turned on her. Now he is the one in control, making some crack about her wrestling potential. With a mighty heave, he sends her spinning through the air, then pins her to the ground, asking if she has finally calmed down. He tries to explain it was for her own good, but she is not listening, so she just delivers a right hook straight to his face, leaving him embedded in the stone wall. Problem solved, apparently. At that moment, the cat boy finally wakes up from his nightmare, asking what is going on. Luoya just plays it cool, saying they found the exit and it is time to go. This team finally heads for the staircase, leaving the chaos behind them. At the top, they are greeted by a stunningly beautiful hall. Looking up, they see another group of people waiting for them on a balcony. A friendly-looking guy welcomes them, officially congratulating them on passing the test. A scarred-up instructor lays out the guild's ranking system, starting them all at the bottom. He explains that the 6 S-rank members are the continent's strongest, a whole different league of power. Then he introduces the branch president, Frank, who is in charge of handing out the quests. Next up is Nia, the combat trainer, who looks like she enjoys her job a little too much. And this is Sero, the group's personal item shop, always ready for a sale. This instructor immediately has to shut down his sales pitch. Not the time, my dude. Since they just passed the test, he offers them a simple D-rank mission to get their feet wet. Their target is a mysterious creature lurking motionless in a nearby river. A new guy with them suggests they all just jump it at the same time. So Frank the president leaps into action, ready to show them how it is done. He unleashes a powerful slash that cuts right through the water, kicking up a massive vortex as he aims for a direct hit. And their terrifying monster turns out to be a giant beaver, which promptly flees up a tree. From the bushes, Li Fei's cat-eared teammate smirks, saying he has been waiting for this. Frank chases after the beaver, yelling for the team to catch it. So the cat boy makes his move, lunging with a flashy green energy attack. But the beaver just dodges, and our boy face plants hard into the ground. Frank sees the disaster unfolding and rushes forward, screaming in panic, just in time for the cat boy's momentum to carry him into a very accidental, very awkward kiss. And the result is a traumatized cat boy running for his life while Frank vomits a literal rainbow. This cat boy yells he almost had it, but Li Fei points out he got kicked away. While those two are busy arguing, Luoya just zips right past them and effortlessly snags the beaver, scolding them for being so incompetent. With their first dangerous mission over, they head back to the guild hall, where it turns out the giant monster was just a little kid's lost pet. This team just watches this overly dramatic reunion, completely unimpressed. Li Fei and his teammate then step up to the counter to turn in the quest. This clerk casually snaps his fingers, summoning a little green slug creature, which proceeds to project a holographic screen after getting knocked out. He confirms they have earned a whopping 3 points and tells them to scram. But the guys are already complaining, asking for a mission with some actual excitement. This clerk just shuts them down, saying they need 1,000 points for C-rank first. Luoya chimes in, calling these D-rank jobs a complete waste of their talent. Their cat-eared friend hypes them up, saying they are stronger than veteran members. Hearing their confidence, the clerk offers them a special investigation mission. They just need to check out some phantom beast activity on a nearby island. But if they fail, it is back to basic training, a challenge they eagerly accept. Now on their way, Li Fei asks for some basic info about the kingdom they are heading to, and the cat boy is absolutely floored. They have never even heard of it. He starts crying about their sheltered upbringing, vowing to save them from their ignorance. So the cat boy launches into a full-blown geography lesson on the 3 major kingdoms. He explains their destination, the Black Charcoal Kingdom, is an archipelago constantly under attack. Apparently, not all phantom beasts are friendly, some can become god-tier threats all on their own. And while most are smart enough to avoid people, others will attack just for the fun of it. Li Fei finally gets why this mission is important, then spots some people in the distance. Hiding in the bushes, they realize the strangers are wearing the same uniforms as their test examiners. Up on a hill, 2 guys in that exact gear are just standing there, looking incredibly shady. This team quickly puts it together. The beasts might be targeting anyone wearing that uniform. Overhearing their conversation, they learn a plan is about to kick off once they meet their leaders. With that, the two mysterious dudes just take off running into the woods. Li Fei's team decides to follow, realizing this is all connected to the Phantom Beast attacks. This whole squad immediately gives chase, sprinting through the forest after them. Their targets arrive at a clearing and kneel before two new people, reporting they are ready to attack. This new boss, rocking a live snake as an arm accessory, reveals the attacks are just a diversion. His partner chimes in, warning the grunts not to fail before asking what team they are from. This goons nervously stammer that their leader is someone called Crimson Armor. And for that answer, the snakearm guy just smacks one of them into next week. From the sidelines, our team is baffled that these trained soldiers were so easy to tail, but their luck runs out as Li Fei realizes they have been spotted and these two look dangerous. This snakearm dude immediately powers up, ready to throw down with his new audience. This snakearm guy immediately attacks, hurling a massive chunk of earth at them. Hiding behind a stump, Li Fei tries the old "we are just passing by" excuse. His new winged acquaintance is not amused, prepping an explosive arrow, but her boss just snatches the arrow midair, commenting on her guts. He then lets the arrows detonate harmlessly in the sky, completely unfazed. His long-haired partner decides he is too busy for this and just pieces out, leaving Snakearm Dude to test a failed product on his giant turtle, which apparently involves a very sketchy-looking syringe to the shell, and the turtle immediately goes berserk, launching into the air. Suddenly, it is a giant, spinning, electrified shell of death. Li Fei realizes this thing is a king-level threat way faster than it looks, while the cat boy mocks its intelligence, winding up for a flashy kick, only to find out that kicking a super turtle's shell is a terrible idea, because the shell suddenly glows with a defensive magic array, blasting our boy backwards until Luoya swoops in for the save, and Li Fei is stunned. The entire shell is a weapon. This cat boy thanks her for the rescue, barely escaping that hit, so Li Fei gives the order, aim for the eyes with an explosive shot. Luoya is more than happy to comply, knocking another fiery arrow, unleashing a volley that strikes true right near the beast's head. With the turtle distracted, Li Fei powers up for his own attack, yelling now. He launches himself into the air, unleashing a 12-hit combo punch, which comically pings off the turtle's shell, doing absolutely nothing, and it just makes the turtle angrier, its eye glowing as it spins up again. Li Fei calls for Luoya to prep another round because that clearly works so well, but then he spots something new, a sudden change in the beast's energy. Its mouth starts glowing with a terrifying amount of power, and it unleashes a massive death beam right at them. Our team barely dives for cover, looking completely out of their league. This catboy even suggests they should probably just run for it now, but suddenly the giant turtle just stops, letting out a sad little noise. Peeking out from their hiding spot, the team is totally confused by the mood swing. So Luoya cautiously approaches, sensing the creature is in immense pain. Its eye is no longer glowing with rage, just filled with exhaustion. And the whole team now stands before the beast, which has completely calmed down. It explains it is dying from a drug that made it go berserk and needs their help, leaving Li Fei just trying to process this sudden plot twist. This turtle begins its tragic backstory about how mercenaries attacked its peaceful clan, showing a memory of its family being captured in a massive net, then dragged off to some unknown lab for horrible experiments. This turtle confirms their fears. It was taken to a lab, a place it calls hell. In a grim flashback, we see it surrounded by scientists, a subject for their twisted experiments. It watched its own kind get injected with drugs that drove them mad before they died. Getting straight to the point, Li Fei asks how it escaped and where this lab is. This turtle was apparently a failed product they tried to control with another drug. But the injection just made it stronger, letting it smash right through a wall to freedom. After that, it drifted aimlessly in the ocean until it was totally drained, only to wash ashore and run into the two goons who were sent to bring it back. Our boy presses for more info, wanting to know exactly who those guys were. Crying, the turtle says they are from the Black Charcoal Kingdom, their only lid. Its teardrop then hardens into a glowing green orb right before their eyes, which it offers to Luoya, a bead containing all its remaining power. As a reward, it promises them the entire treasure of its clan if they can save its family. And with that final plea, the giant creature collapses, its energy spent. Sitting down to process, the team realizes this is the real reason for the beast attacks. Li Fei knows they have to report this. It is way above a D-rank team's pay grade. Meanwhile, the catboy is already wondering how much the magic bead will sell for priorities. For that, he earns a solid bonk to the head from Luoya, who yells at him to forget the money. They are going to the kingdom to investigate, and our scene shifts to a grand, empty throne room, hinting at the trouble ahead. Inside the Black Charcoal Kingdom, the royal guard stands ready for anything. Li Fei, Luoya, and their companion are led into the throne room to report. This duke is clearly annoyed that all this chaos is happening on his turf. But he stands up, promising to contact the association and find that illegal lab. Walking away, Li Fei is actually impressed the guy is taking this so seriously. But just as they are about to leave, the duke calls them back for one more thing. Our boy turns around, wondering what else could possibly be on the agenda. He gives them a side quest: investigate a local statue that has started crying black tears. And to sweeten the deal, he generously offers to cover all their expenses while they are in town, which they immediately translate into a glorious, shimmering mountain of burgers. This entire team, Catboy included, is now just inhaling food like they have been starved for weeks. Li Fei, face covered in crumbs, just happily yells for another round. Luoya finally cuts in, asking if it is weird the Duke hired them for this instead of his own men. Their cat-eared friend, Mouthful, just says it is because they are the elites, a likely story. Li Fei, meanwhile, is too busy stuffing his face to contribute anything useful. She tries to get a serious opinion out of them, but it is a total lost cause. With a sigh, she gives up, completely done with her team's priorities. Nearby, two patrons are gossiping about that exact statue, mentioning it has a weird smell. Their conversation catches Li Fei's ear. They say the smell is poisonous and might be from the sewers. This locals just decide to avoid the area since the city guard is not doing a thing about it. A new girl with a bird on her shoulder asks if the citizens have been affected yet. Done waiting, she slams the table and declares they are heading to the sewers themselves. So we cut to said sewers, which look more like a grand Venetian canal. Li Fei and a totally new crew are walking through, commenting on the ridiculously fancy plumbing. Our boy notes the city's high elevation makes this whole setup feel suspicious. His book-smart companion agrees this is way too over the top for simple drainage. Right on cue, the water starts bubbling because nothing is ever simple. His little white cat Zio Bai starts barking frantically at the water's edge. A blue tendril suddenly lashes out of the canal, aiming right for the cat. It snatches Zio Bai right up, hoisting the poor thing into the air. This creature starts dragging its new chew toy down the tunnel with the team scrambling after it. Li Fei yells for everyone to follow, not about to lose his companion. They round the corner to see Zio Bai stuck to the side of a massive thing. It is a giant, goopy, multi-tentacled slime monster, and it looks deeply depressed about its job. Li Fei's shocked it is just a low-level slime this big and calls for a fusion to take it down. He transforms, getting a full-on armored suit complete with a dramatic red cape. But the slime attacks first, launching a volley of liquid spikes at him. These spikes immediately wrap around his limbs, trapping him completely. His winged companion flies in to help, yelling for him to watch out. She explains these things reproduce endlessly, so if there is one, there is a whole swarm. And suddenly they are drowning in a sea of blue tentacles. This catboy immediately gets to work, slicing through the little goop monsters, while Luoya ignites her wings, carving a fiery path through the swarm. Li Fei, still completely tangled, decides to power up a counterattack, unleashing a massive vortex that turns the entire slime army into a smoothie. With the coast clear, he looks at the survivors and mocks how weak they are. Luoya explains they are just glorified garbage disposals for the city sewers, but she admits the giant one in the back still gives her a really bad feeling. Right on cue, the big guy starts twisting its body into a giant slimy drill. Li Fei's first thought is that it must have a serious case of indigestion. It then launches itself forward like a high-speed torpedo of death, forcing Luoya to scream for everyone to get the hell out of the way. This whole team dives as the monster smashes the wall, spraying acid everywhere. Our boy sees the stone melting and notes that stuff would dissolve their bones. His winged companion is completely baffled. These slimes should not have this power. Then Li Fei hears a strange squeaking sound coming from the darkness. It is coming from behind a metal grate the monster just broke through. And the team finally puts it all together. This is why the Duke sent them. Li Fei realizes the guy never wanted a report. He wanted them trapped and silenced. As if on command, the grate slams shut, locking them in the sewer for good. Standing in the rising water, the catboy asks the million-dollar question, why did the Duke do this? Li Fei connects the dots. Only the Duke knew they were coming down here to investigate. His solution, as always, is to just punch their way out and ask questions later. So he unleashes that 12-hit combo punch right at the metal bars, which once again does absolutely nothing at all. Their winged companion explains the grate is made of a special, unbreakable ore. Just then, the catboy starts feeling dizzy, clutching his head in pain, and she puts it all together. The Duke is raising a monster and they are breathing its poison. That poison is the source of the statue's black tears, making the whole side quest a trap. Even Li Fei is starting to feel the effects, sweating from the toxic fumes. Regardless of the poison, she draws her sword, ready for a fight, deciding to take out the giant slime monster first to clear a path. But the creature just dissolves into a puddle on the floor, only to reform right behind her and snatch her out of the air. Suddenly, an army of its sad-looking children pops into existence, and the main slime starts absorbing them all, becoming a giant, goopy monstrosity. Li Fei realizes the slimes are just illusions, but the poison they are releasing is very real. Supporting his dizzy friend, he points out one last area they have not checked yet. So he powers up that punch again because hey, third time's the charm, right? This time he smashes the water itself, creating a massive whirlpool. That whirlpool he punched into existence starts sucking everything down the drain. His winged companion yells for him to keep attacking the pit. There has to be an exit down there. She realizes the stench coming up is the same as the poison from the slime illusions. Li Fei tells her to watch their dizzy friend, stepping forward to finish the job himself. He powers up again, gathering a vortex of energy for one more big hit, unleashing that 12-hit combo punch because if it fails twice, why not a third time? This time he slams his fist straight into the sewer floor, shattering the stone completely. This attack rips open a massive chasm, leaving him standing at the edge of the abyss. Peering down, they find a massive drainage pipe, the source of the poisonous smell. For daring to question her sense of smell, the cat boy gets a vicious cheek pinch from his winged friend. She is certain the stench mutated the slimes, but they still have no way to get down there. Right on cue, another giant, miserable-looking slime monster oozes up from the pipe. It rises up to meet them, catching the winged girl completely by surprise. But a moment later, she announces she's got a plan. This should be good. Her genius idea is a human rope, with the whole team dangling precariously over the pit. Then a tiny slime just squeezes through the pipe, and they remember slimes are basically liquid. This main slime monster reforms right in front of them, blocking their path completely. It immediately fires off a high-speed tendril of goop at the dangling team. Their companion scrambles to escape, but Li Fei yells that there is no room to dodge in here. With no other options, Li Fei just sprints forward, ready to improvise a new plan, so that punch opened a path leading them straight up a pipe toward the light. A foot promptly kicks the grate clean off because doors are for chumps. A totally new guy tumbles out into a high-tech lab with Luoya already there. He then pops his head back through the floor, now with a cat on his shoulder. Li Fei asks where they are, while Luoya complains the air feels thick and hot. Their new companion confirms it. They have found the Duke's secret laboratory. He immediately spots a slime monster through a porthole and starts taunting it. This poor slime just stares back, continuing its life of constant, goopy despair. A second later, the guy is coddling his cats, worried the bad air is making them sick. He gets down on their level, asking if they have sniffed out any important clues. Luoya, meanwhile, finds the actual evidence, failed reports on magical beast experiments. These documents detail horrific tests that gave animals power but destroyed their minds. Another report shows a minotaur experiment that also resulted in an uncontrollable monster. She realizes with a shock that these twisted experiments have been going on for 10 years. And it all clicks. The lab's toxic waste mutated the slimes, and the Duke is behind it. Li Fei wants to report it immediately, but their new friend points out they are still trapped. Another slime appears in the window, and Luoya is just so over this entire situation, so it is back to the vents with everyone swearing off enclosed spaces forever. Li Fei and Xiao climb a ladder toward yet another grated exit. A hand pushes the cover aside, finally breaking out into the open air and sunlight. Li Fei pops out of a manhole, wondering where the heck they have ended up. They have surfaced right next to the infamous crying statue in the central plaza. His whole team emerges, immediately noticing the square is eerily empty. Suddenly, Li Fei points, yelling for everyone to look at something in the distance. A strange red mist is rolling in, and Luoya recognizes the toxic stench from the lab. He warns them to fall back, guessing this stuff probably triggers a city-wide rage fest. With the whole city blanketed in the fog, the potential for absolute chaos is massive. Luoya immediately takes charge, ordering them to split up and start evacuations. But a massive, unnatural gust of wind rips through the square, stopping them cold. Li Fei shields his eyes, knowing this is way more than just a strong breeze. And from the swirling energy, a giant skeleton chicken monster materializes, because of course it does. Their cat-boy companion is baffled. It is a basic bone rooster, so why is it the size of a building? In his battle suit, Li Fei wonders how the city's defenses could have failed this spectacularly. This skeletal horror looms over them, letting out an ear-splitting shriek. Luoya decides they will just have to trash this thing first, and the boys charge in. It immediately gets blasted by some kind of attack, staggering for a moment. This cat-boy roars, ready for his turn to tear into it, fangs and all. He lands a solid hit, snapping one of its bony legs clean off. Li Fei follows up with a powerful uppercut, sending the creature reeling back. Then he leaps into the air, winding up that 12-hit combo punch for the finisher. Li Fei lands, asking if the fight's finally over, but he immediately senses something is still very wrong. From a dark vortex, a whole swarm of mini-skeletons descends, which immediately start reassembling the giant bone chicken, because of course they do. Luoya looks around, realizing the city guards and everyone else have already bylaid. Li Fei cannot believe how the city fell apart in just half a day. Before he can process it, the monster fires a massive purple energy beam, unleashing a swirling vortex of pure destruction right at him. He barely manages to dodge out of the way, this blast carving a trench in the street where he just stood. With no time to waste, he winds up for another attack. Throwing that 12-hit combo punch for the third time today, let us hope it sticks. This time it connects, shattering the monster's entire ribcage into pieces. Their cat-boy companion leaps in, ready to show off his own moves. He grabs onto the creature's massive spine, finding a good handhold, and with a savage grin he prepares to rip the whole thing apart. This entire spinal column just snaps under his strength. Then Luoya swoops in, wings of fire blazing for the final strike. Slicing through the remaining bones with her flaming sword. Her grip tightens, ready to end this ridiculous fight for good. She swoops in, bringing her flaming sword down to finish the job. As the bones fall, Luoya dismisses the creature as a brainless waste of time. This catboy agrees, bragging that these things are all bark and no bite. But she corrects him, for normal people, this thing would have been a total catastrophe. Just then, 2 more skeleton chickens spawn in, because this day just keeps getting better. This bony duo lets out a shriek and immediately charges the team. Then they start spinning into a vortex, pulling off a surprise fusion dance. Our heroes can only stare, wondering what fresh hell this is. Inside the swirling energy, the 2 skeletons begin to merge into one, and they realize in horror its power is jumping to a king-class level. Li Fei connects the dots. The slimes, now the enemy's goal must be forced fusion. Luoya immediately calls for a tactical retreat knowing they are completely outmatched, but he stops her sensing a new extremely dangerous presence approaching. This fused bone monstrosity towers over them ready to strike. Li Fei yells for them to run, but Luoya is completely frozen in her tracks. With no escape, he prepares for a fight while the catboy daydreams about barbecue. Suddenly, a spinning blade weapon soars down from the sky, slicing clean through the monster's head in a single perfect strike. Li Fei is absolutely stunned. Whoever just did that is on a whole other level. From the dust, a mysterious and ridiculously buff stranger makes his grand entrance. This new guy immediately whips out a chain ready for action. It wraps cleanly around the handle of his weapon, zipping the giant axe right back over the team's heads. And he catches it with a perfect, dramatic flair. He asks why they are still hanging around when the city's been evacuated. Li Fei steps up saying they are from the Phantom Association with critical intel, but the stranger just scoffs, shocked they do not recognize his glorious face. Then he strikes a pose, announcing he is an S-Class member, the Black Reaper. Li Fei and the Catboy are just dying of secondhand embarrassment. To prove his point, he flashes a gaudy lion emblem on his shoulder. This boys just whisper back and forth, pretty sure this dude is a total fraud. Getting impatient, he unleashes a wave of pressure, demanding they start talking. Li Fei immediately starts sucking up, praising his kindness and obvious power. He begins his report, recapping how the Duke sent them to investigate the crying statue. Then he explains how they found the secret lab and the damning experiment records. Handing over the evidence, he claims the Duke must have set them up to die. Luoya agrees it is a conspiracy, but Li Fei doubts the Duke is the mastermind. He questions who else could have thrown the entire city into chaos so quickly. Their new ally adds that the Duke ordered an evacuation right after they left. Li Fei argues that is not proof because the Duke could not have planned it, he is dead. This boys are completely blindsided by this revelation, the Duke is dead. Black Reaper explains that right after they left, the red mist rolled in, driving all the magical beasts insane. This Duke ordered an evacuation, but when Reaper went to report back, he found absolute carnage. He walked into a throne room littered with the Duke's guards, all killed in a single blow, and there on the throne sat the Duke himself, just chilling without a head. Li Fei starts putting the pieces together. The timing of the mist and the murder is way too perfect. He drops a bombshell theory. What if the real mastermind is inside the Phantom Association? This Duke must have suspected a traitor, so he cut them out of the loop and got silence for his trouble. Just as the conspiracy talk heats up, a massive magic circle flares to life on the ground, and a giant glowing white bull monster erupts from the cobblestones because of course it does. This team just stares, wondering what fresh hell has decided to join the party. Reaper easily identifies it as a king-class beast, bragging that the bone chickens were just an appetizer. He dismisses their theory as pure speculation, telling them to investigate the mist while he handles this. Then his attention turns to Luoya, who has been suspiciously quiet this whole time. She is a little surprised to be singled out, basically asking, "Me?" He gives her some weirdly condescending speech about enjoying the life she chose. Wrapping chains around his arm, he gets hyped to use a king-class monster as a warm-up. He launches himself at the bull, already planning to turn its skull into a victory mug. Luoya takes charge, ordering the boys to follow the plan and head for the forest. And so their next destination is set, the mysterious Northwest Forest. So the team heads into the Northwest Forest, looking for the source of the mist. Li Fei immediately notes how clean it is, wondering where all the chaos went. Their catboy companion is so bored he is about to fall asleep, not even a mouse to hunt. With a bad feeling creeping in, Li Fei asks Luoya why she froze up back there. She tries to play it off, saying she was just overwhelmed by the S-Class guy's power. But he calls her out, that was not awe, it was pure terror, and he wants to know what she is hiding. Her response is to just deck him right in the face because personal questions are rude. He goes flying through the trees, learning a very valuable lesson about boundaries. This impact is so massive it practically clears a section of the forest, knocking our boy out so hard his soul tries to make a quick exit. Luoya is still fuming, basically telling everyone to shut up before they are next, and Li Fei immediately apologizes, promising to never ever pry again. Just then, the little white cat pet starts barking and bolts into the woods. Still radiating pure fury, Luoya just orders them to follow it. This cat leads them to a cliff overlooking a horrifying pit filled with blood and dead beasts. Hovering above this nightmare is a giant, swirling red orb of pure energy. This thing is just sucking up all the life force from the dead creatures below, before it fires a concentrated beam of power straight up into the sky, and in a flash, the entire orb just completely vanishes. Luoya kneels by a weakened wolf, realizing something drained all the power from the forest. Li Fei spots another one of those red energy beams in the sky. Great, round 2, and just like before, it is draining the life out of all the cute, unsuspecting forest critters. This whole forest is sparkling with this weird energy, making everything look deceptively peaceful. Li Fei figures out the mist is not lethal, it just sucks you dry, but where is all that power going? Luoya suddenly realizes what is happening around them. She senses a massive magic formation, basically a giant illusion hiding the truth. It is a high-level spell, meaning they are only seeing a carefully curated lie. Li Fei immediately asks the obvious question, got a plan to break it. She gives two options, one just brute force it, but the caster is at least king class. This catboy immediately starts panicking, ready to bail now that king class is the new normal. But Li Fei points out that backup is a long way off and the forest is dying fast. Luoyu agrees if this mist spreads, it'll wipe out the nearby cities. Their companion is still trying to talk them out of this suicide mission, bless his cowardly heart. But Luoyu says she can handle a king class and Li Fei's ready to give it a shot too. This cat boy is just having an existential crisis, wondering when he got left so far behind. And Luoyu has officially run out of patience. She tells him to stop whining and either fight or get lost. He immediately snaps to attention, ready to follow Big Sister's orders. Smart move. Taking flight, she reveals Plan B, find the spell's weak point and hit it with everything they have got. She pinpoints the node, ordering them to prepare for a full-on assault. Luoyu gets ready, knocking a whole fan of flaming arrows. She lets loose her exploding arrow attack, a fiery barrage into the sky. Not to be outdone, the cat boy charges in with a tearing claw slash, and Li Fei throws down with his 12 consecutive punches, a literal spirit dragon of an attack. Their combined assault hits the node, triggering a spectacular explosion, and the illusion shatters, revealing a giant ominous tower at the forest's heart. Li Fei's ready to storm the place, determined to find out what is inside. But of course, the tower's already got a guardian, a swirling red energy beast. It is forming another one of those red orbs, just like the one they saw in the pit. Luoyu immediately calls it, that is the device controlling the mist, and she is going to destroy it. Wasting no time, she flies straight up the tower's grand staircase, and she is immediately greeted by the tower's elite guard force, a pile of frogs. Turns out they are ice-spitting battle frogs and they open fire immediately. She is understandably a little confused by the frog-based artillery. Forcing her on the defensive, she weaves through a storm of ice shards. Then the frogs combine their power, forming a giant crystal to crush her. She is forced into a sharp dive, narrowly avoiding the crushing blow. This attack grazes her cheek, and now this is personal. She is officially annoyed. This frog ambush works, forcing her all the way back to the ground floor. She reports that flying up is impossible. They will just become target practice for the frog squad. Li Fei stares up at the tower, wondering what kind of nightmare fuel is waiting inside. But Luoyu corrects him, this is not an illusion, it is high-level space magic. She explains a king-class beast created this pocket dimension, trapping them completely. This cat boy immediately starts spiraling, realizing there is no way to retreat now. Li Fei, ever the protagonist, declares they will just have to fight their way up floor by floor. He is weirdly confident the three of them can take down the device, famous last words. With a dramatic push, he shoves the massive front doors, and they swing open to reveal a surprisingly peaceful courtyard. This team steps inside, totally baffled by the sudden change of scenery. Looking up, they see that same creepy red orb pulsing at the tower's peak. Luoyu recognizes the grass as food for low-level monsters, which is odd. Just then, the cat boy senses something zipping right past his head. A shadowy blur launches an attack from the side, and a boxing glove-wearing rabbit just slugs him right in the gut. He goes flying, completely taken out by a fluffy white bunny. This rabbit strikes a pose, demanding they identify themselves. This is not a drill. Luoyu is absolutely delighted, realizing this little guy is almost king class. Li Fei is just confused since these rabbits are supposed to be the weakest of the weak. Trying to be the adult, Luoyu gently tells the bunny to step aside. Its response is to immediately try and kick her in the face, so much for diplomacy. Luoyu is officially done, threatening to turn this rabbit into spicy stew. But the bunny is insanely fast, dodging her by whipping up a mini tornado. This whirlwind catches her off guard, forcing her to admit it is not cute at all. Meanwhile, the cat boy is just getting up, completely clueless about what just happened. He gets his answer in the form of a fist nado right to the face. And for the second time today, our boy gets launched. He is the team's official punching bag. This rabbit lands, taking a boxing stance and warning them to leave immediately. Li Fei tries playing negotiator, promising they will leave after they smash the device upstairs. But its one and only job is to protect that thing, so now they are enemies. With diplomacy officially dead, Luoyu readies her bow, deciding it is time to fight. She fires off a volley of arrows, aiming to end this quickly. In response, the rabbit unleashes a 1,000-punch barrage, creating a wall of fists. Her arrows just fizzle out against the assault, not even getting a chance to explode. So Li Fei steps in, challenging the bunny to a real fistfight with his 12 punches. His attack connects, hammering the little guardian with a flurry of spirit-infused blows. This impact sends the rabbit flying backwards with a massive explosion. Down but not out, the rabbit is actually impressed by the sheer power of the attack. Li Fei stands over his handiwork, his knuckles literally smoking from the force. Luoyu points out that while it is tough, its rabbit biology is holding back its raw strength. Just then, a voice chants "rabbit," and a menacing red eye glows with terrifying power. This cat boy gets absolutely pasted against the wall, still seeing stars. And the rabbit goes full Super Saiyan, screaming that no one should underestimate bunnies. Li Fei is just stunned by this immediate escalation. Who knew rabbits had this much rage? It launches itself at him, wreathed in flames and righteous fury. So Li Fei immediately tries to pass the buck to Luoyu, who is just done with his nonsense. This rabbit starts monologuing about its species, prolific nature, which is a weird flex. Apparently, if you have enough kids, one of them is bound to be a genius. And this one is here to lead the glorious rabbit revolution one kick at a time. Its landing creates a huge shockwave, sending everyone scrambling for cover. Luoyu is about to turn this thing into a kebab, but Li Fei tells her to hold on. He is literally begging her to let him handle this his way. This cat boy pops up ready to help, so Li Fei gives him a new job: distract the bunny. He has got his own plan, telling his confused companion to just trust him. With the team in position, Li Fei calls the shot. It is go time. He charges in, meeting the rabbit's assault with a swirling vortex of energy. This two attacks collide in a spectacular, ground-shaking explosion, and our boy immediately gets launched into a wall because of course he does. This rabbit just stands there looking completely unimpressed with the effort. But it was all a feint. The cat boy zips in from behind, claws glowing, and he lands a critical hit right on the back of its head, ready to claim his prize. This cat boy stands over the defeated rabbit looking way too proud of himself. He explains his brilliant strategy to Li Fei, who seems entirely unimpressed. Meanwhile, the rabbit gives a dramatic final speech about failing its entire species, and cue the tragic backstory, starting with some intense tree-punching practice. We see it training day and night, trying to break its limits. An elder rabbit watches on, praising its hard work and incredible potential. With burning spirit, the young bunny vows to lead the rabbit revolution, but the elder brings the mood down, reminding it their species has a hard power cap. Their only hope is a contract with a human, which he admits is basically impossible. A flashback shows exactly why a demonic wolf just tearing through their village. With his dying breath, the elder entrusts the future of their people to the young warrior. He passes away, leaving the bunny with a heavy, world-saving burden. Desperate, it tries begging some passing women for a contract. They just laugh and say it'd be better as a meal, so much for that plan. This rejection completely shatters its spirit, confirming its worst fears. But then a young boy approaches the heartbroken little guy. He offers to form a contract and, even better, be its friend. Overcome with joy, the rabbit tearfully accepts his offer. And a random thug immediately steps on the kid's head, planning dinner. He kicks the rabbit away as the boy screams because happy moments are illegal here. This thug lands a brutal slap, sending the kid flying into a tree. He is furious the kid got away, leaving the rabbit's master to bleed out alone. With his dying words, the boy tells his little friend to live on without him. This rabbit just holds its dead master, vowing to get stronger at any cost. And right on cue, a mysterious woman appears with an offer, a deadly experiment. She promises unimaginable power if it survives, a deal too tempting to pass up. So begins the Super Soldier Program Bunny Edition, starting with a giant needle. This process is pure agony, twisting it into a red-eyed screaming monster. But it works, unlocking a power that is just one step away from King Class. This woman explains this was just step one, and now it has a job: guard the tower. Back in the present, the defeated rabbit refuses to die, its spirit flaring up again. Our team is just floored. How is it standing after getting its head caved in? Its secret weapon is apparently eating the grass to patch up the hole in its skull. Li Fei and the cat boy finally realize something is very wrong with this lawn. Luoya picks a blade, noticing it smells faintly of blood. Suddenly, they are all aware of the blood swirling through the grass around them. Meanwhile, the rabbit is still having its villain monologue moment, screaming for power. Luoya is ready to move on, but Li Fei insists if they leave now, they will die. She has no idea who he is talking about because he is talking about whatever is bleeding out right under their feet. Li Fei spells it out: this grass is just fodder for whatever's trapped right under the tower. Meanwhile, the rabbit is still having its moment, screaming that it wants everyone to fear it. It vows to make everyone who ever underestimated its kind pay the ultimate price. But Li Fei just cuts through the noise, asking if it cannot hear the wailing from beneath the floor. This completely throws the rabbit off, which demands to know what he is talking about. He explains the grim math. Its power is literally fueled by the life force of its own people. To prove his point, Li Fei charges up a massive attack aimed right at the ground. His punch shatters the courtyard floor, revealing the horrifying truth underneath. It is a pit filled with the bodies of countless other rabbits. Li Fei calls it out, saying its people were cheering for it, and it repaid them by turning them into batteries. This little guy is in total denial, stammering that the mysterious woman just planted some special grass. And the weight of that lie just completely crushes its spirit. It breaks down crying, convinced that its species is doomed to be weak forever. Li Fei lays it on thick, explaining the snow demon woman played it for an absolute fool. Her whole goal was to turn it into a disposable lab rat for her experiments. He then asks if it has even realized it already has king-class strength, which just confuses it more. In a shocking turn, Li Fei gives it a pep talk, saying its only real limit is its own belief. He even gives the little guy a comforting pat on the head, talk about a mood swing. This simple act of kindness triggers a genuine power-up, its aura flaring to life. And with a renewed spirit, the rabbit launches itself skyward, ready to fight for real. With its newfound resolve, the rabbit bolts up the stairs in a flash of pure energy. Luoya is stunned by its king-class aura, while the cat boy yells at Li Fei for powering up the enemy. In a heroic pose, it thanks them for restoring its confidence, a classic shonen moment. Li Fei calmly walks down, asking if it still plans on getting in their way. But the rabbit's done fighting, it is just gonna grab its people and get the hell out of here. So Li Fei presses for answers, wanting to know what the deal is with this place. It admits to not knowing what the device is, just that the snow demon woman hired a bunch of beasts to guard it. While hauling a comically large sack of its brethren, it mentions the promise of future power. This little guy gives them a final warning about the dangers ahead before peacing out. Now Li Fei and Luo are left wondering who this snow demon woman is that can command so many powerful creatures. Luoya immediately gets in his face, demanding he stop acting like he knows everything and just explain. This catboy steps in with some lore explaining she is a rare humanoid beast, a snow demon. Li Fei connects the dots. The mastermind behind the potion is not a human, it is a beast. His companions discuss the implications, realizing some beasts are just as intelligent as people. Meanwhile, Luoya is still stuck on getting revenge on the frog from earlier priorities. So the boys immediately form a pact to avenge her, which is a great way to shut her up. With that settled, the trio finally prepares to head upstairs, but Li Fei pauses, realizing it is way too quiet for a place supposedly crawling with guards. Having zero patience for his brooding, Luoya just charges ahead with the catboy. A dark stain on the floor catches Li Fei's eye, confirming his feeling that something is deeply wrong here. That dark, bloody stain from before is creeping up the stairs right behind them. It slithers up the spiral staircase, a pretty clear sign that they are being followed. A mysterious voice suddenly echoes, offering them a choice between 3 exits. And just like that, they are facing 3 massive doors, a classic dungeon puzzle. Li Fei asks his team for their thoughts on this sudden game show moment. This catboy racks his brain, saying this reminds him of an old scary story. He launches into a tale about a kid meeting a demon in the woods, perfect timing. In his story, the demon offers the kid a reward for answering a question correctly, but a wrong answer means getting locked away forever, which is not reassuring. Luoyu immediately throttles him for telling ghost stories right now. Trying to de-escalate, Li Fei asks her which door she thinks they should take. She gets serious, insisting they cannot split up and should stick to the middle path. With total confidence, Luoya pushes open the center door. A brilliant light floods out as the heavy doors swing open, and a giant shadow demon lunges out. So much for that confident choice. Luoya is completely horrified to see the campfire story was real. Li Fei, however, looks like he was born ready for this exact moment. Then they are suddenly back at the bottom of the stairs, right where they started. Luoya is in total denial, refusing to believe they are trapped in a loop. She is absolutely furious, vowing that she is getting out of here no matter what. Furious, Luoya tries to just fly up the stairs, screw the rules, and she is immediately thrown back down to the start with the guys. She is absolutely losing it, screaming about being trapped in this loop. A sudden fiery blast erupts, making her demand to know what is attacking now. Li Fei smirks and suggests the catboy go try, who tells him to shut up before he gets them killed. Getting serious, Li Fei asks if that scary story mentioned any way to beat the demon. This catboy recalls the ending. A kid just stole both lollipops and the demon turned into a ball and fled. Li Fei deduces the demon is weak but tricky, preying on people's choices, and based on that incredibly flimsy logic, he thinks he has a plan. Luoya, meanwhile, is about to pop a blood vessel, demanding they actually do something. So Li Fei just calmly tells them to follow him back up to the doors. His grand strategy, forget choosing, just hit the main door with everything they have got. Luoyu is first up, launching a powerful flaming arrow. This catboy follows with a flurry of claw strikes, and Li Fei finishes with a 12-hit combo punch. Their combined attacks create a massive explosion right on the door, but as the smoke clears, the door is completely unscratched, of course it is. While Li Fei processes this failure, something small zips right past his face. And a golden key just slaps onto his cheek. That is one way to get a reward. Suddenly, a massive golden entity descends from the ceiling, revealing the real puzzle master. This golden entity drips down from the ceiling, looking like a giant sentient glob of honey. It splatters right on the floor in front of Li Fei and the catboy. Then it pulls itself into a humanoid shape with a creepy smiley face, prompting Luoya to ask what fresh hell this is. This catboy identifies it as a mud child, a creature he says is normally weaker than even the rabbit. Except this one is huge and radiating a king-class aura, which is definitely not standard issue. This mudman is shocked they saw through its perfect illusion so humble. Li Fei explains that the 3-door puzzle was just completely pointless for a brand new tower. Since the doors served no purpose, he figured the only explanation was that it was all a big illusion. Impressed, the creature taunts him, asking if he actually knows how to break the spell. Our boy credits the catboy's campfire story, realizing the snow demon would not post weak guards. He basically just assumed they were fighting a bigger, slimier version of the demon from the tale. So his grand plan was to smash all 3 doors at once, forcing the illusionist to reveal itself while rebuilding. This mud child confirms everything, gloating that the snow demon gave it the power of the illusion king. Luoya is completely done with the monologue and just declares they are going to kill it. With a cheerful "let us play," the golem happily launches itself into battle. A massive wave of its gooey body shoots directly at Luoya. It morphs into a cage of slimy arms, trying to grab her out of the air. A giant hand then forms above, preparing to swat her like a fly. This attack splatters harmlessly as she dodges through the gaps. She lands on the puddle of goo, complaining that her powers are useless against this disgusting thing. Luoya yells at the guys, who are literally stuck to the walls, to get in the fight. They shout back that they are a little preoccupied, being glued to pillars. All the while, the mud child is just loving this, asking why they stopped playing with it. Li Fei decides if it wants a game, they will give it one, a big one. This catboy is immediately suspicious, asking what our boy is planning now. With a "trust me," Li Fei just launches himself off the pillar right at him, and then he throws the catboy at Luoya, yelling for her to catch. She watches as her teammate comes flying in for a very undignified landing in the goo. Without missing a beat, she just grabs the poor guy, looking completely over it. First, she gets a solid grip on his wrist, then she grabs him by the ankle for good measure. and just hurls him like a living spear right at the monster. Teamwork makes the dream work, I guess. This golem morphs into a giant drill, ready to intercept their projectile friend. This is the opening Li Fei was waiting for, powering up a massive energy fist. His logic is simple: if the body is too big to hurt, just aim for the head. He unleashes another 12-hit combo, promising there is more where that came from. This mud child seems to be having the time of its life, getting absolutely pummeled. His final punch sends the creature reeling backwards, right into the path of the flying cat boy, who skewers it clean through the chest. It explodes in a shower of goo, leaving them to wonder if that actually worked. Luoya is absolutely disgusted by the goo explosion, screaming that it is gross. Suddenly, a deep chill runs through Li Fei as a dark aura surrounds him. This mud child gloats from the ceiling, revealing its head as the core, and its scattered power is now a new illusion. So the trio immediately resorts to a desperate group hug for warmth. As the golem explains, it is trapping them in a world of ice and snow. It then taunts them, asking if they really think they can escape the freezing cold. And just like that, they are dumped in a blizzard, with Luoya already complaining. She yells at the boys to stop hugging and actually come up with a plan. But their best idea is to just keep huddling and hope for the best. Li Fei's got a snot icicle forming while Luoya screams they are all gonna die. Team morale is high. Then a sudden ray of sunlight breaks through the clouds. This blizzard stops completely, leaving Luoya and Li Fei stunned. Our boy just smirks, saying it looks like he was right all along. Back in reality, they are still huddled as a mirror-like object reflects them. A tiny crack suddenly appears on the illusion's surface. This mud child starts to panic, wondering why its perfect illusion is failing, and then the entire thing shatters into a million pieces. Li Fei looks down, completely spent, and declares that it is finally over, before flashing a triumphant grin and announcing their victory. His teammates, however, are just confused, asking what the hell they even did. This golem is absolutely losing it, demanding to know how they broke its perfect illusion. Our boy just deadpans that they did nothing. The golem beat itself. Its face twists in rage, screaming that it is impossible for it to defeat itself. With a smirk, Li Fei explains its power was borrowed from the snow demon, meaning it has zero control, and the golem starts to connect the dots, remembering that final attack. Li Fei's master plan was to shake its core, making its own power go haywire. It throws a tantrum, insisting it is the illusion king, and tries to conjure another spell. But our boy is not waiting for a monologue, already charging up another fist. A clean punch lands right in its core, shutting that speech down fast. That one hit sends the creature flying backwards in a splash of goo, and it just dissolves into a puddle on the floor. So much for the king. It reforms into a sad, tiny version of itself, whining that its power is gone. Our boy gives it a life lesson: power you cannot control was never yours to begin with. Now it is just a crying puddle, begging Li Fei not to come any closer. Then Li Fei just pats its head, telling it to go train so they can have a rematch later. This little guy is just completely baffled, even blushing a little. Fired up, the little golem strikes a pose, vowing to train so it can win their next game. With that settled, the team stands on the now harmless puddle that was once a boss. Luoya is giving him a serious side-eye, prompting him to ask if he has got something on his face. She admits she is just surprised, never expecting him to be so gentle with an enemy. Li Fei just smirks, saying the mud child was just a prankster he could be friends with. He tells Luoya they are leaving to go beat up that frog she was mad about, and she is just thinking he is so gentle he could probably befriend any monster. With the puzzle solved, the next massive door finally swings open for them. They step through, and the atmosphere immediately gets super tense. Inside is a massive, winding staircase leading up to a glowing red orb of doom, and meditating right below it is a giant frog with a rainbow gem on its head, the next boss. Luoya recognizes it as a king-class demon, the seven-colored toad. It immediately attacks, forcing them to dodge a massive explosion on the stairs. This toad demands to know who they are and why they are in its tower, but Luoya just points, accusing it of being the one who shot an ice cone at her earlier. This frog calls her a thief, declaring it will not let them steal the precious red gem. Apparently, the snow demon herself put it on guard duty, and now it is hungry. It stares down at them from its perch, looking ready for a fight. Then it leaps into the air, calling for its subjects to join the fun. With a dramatic flourish, it orders its minions to capture their prey. And suddenly, the stairs are lined with smaller frogs spitting ice shards. It is a whole army. This team is caught in the crossfire, with the cat boy freaking out about the numbers. They are all running for their lives while debating an escape plan. Great time for a meeting. But then a familiar pink goo ring flies right past Li Fei's head from behind. And just then, a familiar pink goo ring zips past Li Fei's head. This cat boy is absolutely losing it, screaming that they are trapped and about to be dinner. Shoving him off, Li Fei declares they have to fight, confident he has a winning move. His teammate immediately objects, saying that attack is too dangerous for Li Fei's body. But our boy insists on taking the lead, telling him to just be backup if it fails. With no better ideas, the cat boy agrees, since the alternative is becoming frog food. So Li Fei just launches himself down the stairs, weaving through a storm of ice shards. Blue energy swirls around him as he powers up for a massive attack. His eyes are glowing with pure focus, ready to unleash hell. And he unleashes his brand new 13-hit combo punch. This time the energy forms a giant spectral wolf, jaws wide open. It slams into one of the frog minions, sending it flying with a massive impact. All the other frogs just stop and stare, completely baffled. Their one shared brain cell is buffering. This cat boy is stunned, realizing this new combo is way stronger than the last one. Luoya explains he developed it in the underground training grounds with Xiao Bai. We get a flashback to her watching him train from the sidelines, and it turns out Xiao Bai is this tiny, ferocious white dog thing. Back then, a swordsman easily blocked his attack, completely shocked. Li Fei could not believe his 12-hit combo was so easily defeated. This guy tells him his technique is good but lacks something, calling it a mere beast's roar. His training partner tells him to remember he is not fighting alone, and that his true strength comes from fighting alongside his beast Xiao Bai. A realization dawns on Li Fei as he closes his eyes. He powers up with his little buddy perched right on his head, the ultimate battle hat. Their combined power begins to surge through the training hall, channeling all that new energy into a single fist. Li Fei prepares to unleash his brand new technique. This energy manifests as a massive spectral beast ready to devour anything. He unleashes the new 13-hit combo powered by him and Xiao Bai. His partner is absolutely floored, realizing he cannot block this thing. This swordsman just barely dodges the insane blast of energy, which takes the form of a giant spirit wolf. Li Fei lands, having successfully passed his training exam. His mentor admits that once he masters this, he will be a top-tier fighter. Back in the present, the cat boy is having a full-on emo moment, wondering where his ultimate move is. He gets a sudden burst of motivation, vowing to create his own signature attack. Luoya is having none of it, yelling at him to stop monologuing and help Li Fei. Our boy is completely knocked out on the floor, soul literally leaving his body worth it. He manages to mumble that the rest is up to them since his everything hurts, so the cat boy just slings him over his shoulder and carries him off. This cat boy is carrying Li Fei when he suddenly feels a wave of heat. Up above, that red orb of doom starts to crack as the Toad King wonders what is going on. Then it just plummets from the ceiling, now glowing bright red and on fire. It lands with a thud, admitting that hurt but reminding them it is a king-class demon. And this fiery red frog declares that kings like him have no weaknesses. It immediately proves its point by breathing a torrent of fire, because of course it does. Our cat boy is just completely baffled, still lugging around his unconscious friend. Luoya explains that king-class 7-colored toads can use 7 different elements. Hearing this, the cat boy's brilliant plan is to just run away, but a sudden energy blast slams right into his back, sending him and his precious cargo flying through the air. This toad's tongue whips out and grabs him, ready to reel in its next meal. Suddenly, Luoya unleashes a massive golden aura, demanding they talk this out. This toad stops, sensing a familiar demonic energy from her. It explains its clan is dying out, and it is the only one left who can reach the king level, and the snow demon's potions are the only way to make its people stronger. Just then, a newly revived Li Fei tells the toad it is making a huge mistake. This frog is just confused, asking what he even means by that. Li Fei explains he figured it out fighting the mud child. That stuff is not a potion. It is a drug that burns your life force and sanity for a quick power-up. This toad is completely unbothered, claiming demons have long lives to burn anyway. But Li Fei shouts that the drug is a total failure, it does not even work right. He drops the truth bomb, the drug makes them crazier and dumber until their entire clan is wiped out. And just like that, the toad is having a complete meltdown, screaming that its clan is finished. Our whole team just stares, realizing this king-class demon is surprisingly simple. Trying to save face, the toad declares it must keep its promise to the snow demon, calling them all liars. Then Luoya steps in with a sly smile, suggesting they find a middle ground. This actually gets the toad's attention, wondering if there is another way out of this mess. She proposes a bet, they fight, and if her team wins, they will study the research and share a real cure. Meanwhile, the cat boy whispers that Luoya is being super manipulative. This is a rigged game. This toad takes the bait, declaring it will not lose and that their tricks are useless. With the deal set, it switches to blue and unleashes a massive torrent of water. In response, Luoya just stomps her foot down, ready for business, announcing she is done holding back as golden energy erupts around her. Her power creates a forbidden demon domain, completely nullifying the toad's water magic. This toad is in total shock, demanding to know where its magic went. It frantically tries to call on lightning and fire, but its powers are completely dead. Luoya smirks, explaining that inside her domain all magic fails, it is a fistfight now. Then she just screams at the boys to get in there unless they want to get beat up by her instead. Spurred into action, the two guys charge forward, yelling for her to hold the domain steady. And we are suddenly thrown into a flashback, a fiery skull plummeting from the sky. It is a vision of a younger Luoya, falling and screaming that she cannot die yet. As she plummets, she vows to change everything. Back in the training hall, her power suddenly erupts in a massive wave of fire. Her training partners are completely floored, having no idea what just happened. And there she is, floating with fiery angel wings as a younger Li Fei stares in shock. She collapses to the ground, clutching her head in agony as he tries to snap her out of it. He holds her, desperately asking their mentor what is wrong with her. This mentor explains it is her hidden talent, a rare power that can nullify magic. Li Fei is still confused, wondering why her ability is manifesting so violently. Turns out he accidentally triggered a traumatic memory she'd suppressed, causing her to lose control. This mentor warns that using this power forces her to relive that pain, risking her sanity every single time. He just gently pats her head, hoping she and her team make it back safe. Back in the present, Luoya is screaming for them to hurry up. She cannot hold the domain forever. Li Fei calls her move totally broken while telling the cat boy they will pincer attack the frog. This toad's brilliant counterplan is to just eat them, hoping that will bring its magic back. Luoya is sweating bullets, the strain of holding back all that magic clearly getting to her. Meanwhile, Li Fei whips the toad's own tongue around, using its attack against it. This frog is absolutely furious, boasting that its raw physical strength is still king class. But Li Fei just smirks, asking how it plans to lift itself with its own tongue. Checkmate. With the toad completely helpless, the cat boy leaps in for the assist. He winds up a massive energy-infused punch, ready to go to town, then launches himself into the air for a devastating claw strike, which connects squarely with the toad's utterly defeated face. Li Fei gives the tongue a sharp yank, sending the frog flying, then proceeds to wrap it up tight like a giant slimy burrito. With the toad completely immobilized, he powers up for another barrage, unleashing his classic 12-hit combo right into its gut. But his attack is suddenly stopped by a mysterious hand. It is Luoya, wings ablaze, holding a weapon to the toad's throat. This toad immediately starts begging for its life, all that kingly pride gone. It cries that it only knows the snow demon was doing power-up experiments. Having heard enough, Luoya just orders it to take its clan and leave. This king-class demon agrees without a second thought, total pushover. Meanwhile, its minions are causing a traffic jam at the exit, and the entire frog army just unceremoniously flees the scene. Li Fei remarks that trusting these guys was a terrible decision. But Luoya tells them to forget the frogs and head upstairs. Outside, they see a massive red energy vortex swirling in the sky, and she confirms that has gotta be the source of all this trouble. Luoya declares they are taking this orb back to Inquater City, but the orb has other plans, suddenly zipping away from her. It rockets into the sky, tearing open a massive red vortex. Not letting it get away, she gives chase immediately, only to get snagged by its creepy red energy tendrils. This feedback makes her super dizzy, completely disoriented. And just like that, the vortex sucks both of them in and vanishes. Down on the roof, the guys are just baffled, asking if the mission's over now. Suddenly, a furious Luoya reappears, screaming that of course it is not. She is absolutely livid, demanding to know how they will explain this mess. After a moment, she stops yelling and points them towards a new location, her finger aimed squarely at a distant, rocky coastline. Turns out, Carrie has warned them about 3 red mist hotspots, and with their city being handled, the next target is the southern sea reef. She is dead set on finding out what that red orb really is. So the whole team makes their way down to the suspicious-looking beach. Arriving among the rocks, they wonder what exactly happened here. Luoya spots some massive claw marks, guessing a huge beast was here but left. Meanwhile, Zio Bai and a new cat friend are sniffing around, one barks, the other meows. Li Fei translates for the pets. The red mist is long gone, so they should just head home. But Luoya literally puts her foot down, refusing to accept this dead end. She is not satisfied leaving empty-handed, insisting there have to be more clues. And just as she is thinking, something catches her eye. She crouches, having found a trail, while her bird looks on judgmentally. Her theory is simple: the creatures must have fled into an underwater cave. Of course, the boys immediately pipe up that they cannot swim. What a convenient problem. So Luoya solves it for them with a swift kick right into the ocean. And just like that, the whole team is taking an involuntary dive. Deep below the surface, they spot a massive, dark structure ahead. This 3 of them swim deeper, navigating the eerie underwater world. Suddenly, a powerful current starts pulling them towards the rocks. It sucks Li Fei right into a swirling underwater vortex. They all surface in a totally new location, completely disoriented. Turns out they have been spat out into a massive, dry cavern. This cat boy is just in awe, staring up at the impossibly high ceiling. Li Fei spots a giant fin, guessing this is the monster's nest. But then he senses something else, a presence he was not expecting. He quickly motions for the others to get down and stay hidden. Ahead of them, a massive serrated blade is drawn with a menacing scrape. Peeking over the rocks, they are stunned to see it is Carias. Carias is locked in a tense standoff with some new guy wielding a massive chainsaw. This chainsaw-wielding goon claims he is just here to collect some rock phantom turtles, strictly business. From their hiding spot, Li Fei puts 2 and 2 together. This must be the turtle's nest. Carias, done with the pleasantries, just kicks the guy straight into a wall. He then lunges forward, announcing that playtime is officially over. This enemy easily parries the blow, his chainsaw sparking against Carias' weapon. Their weapons grind as Carias uses his staff to hold back the roaring blade. This new guy acknowledges Carias' S-class but points out he is not exactly in top shape. He smirks, wondering just how long an injured man can possibly hold out. Carias gives him one final chance to talk before things get really messy. Watching from the sidelines, Luoya is completely shocked to see their mentor is actually hurt. This chainsaw guy just scoffs at the threat, calling it a total bluff. He revs his weapon again, asking if Carias really thinks he can scare him off. With a furious roar, Carias unleashes a glowing red strike of his own. But the enemy summons a massive red vortex, revealing he is called the Destroyer. His whole brand is wrecking everything in his path, and Carias is next on the list. This vortex rages, threatening to shred him into tiny little pieces. Unfazed, Carias just readies his massive axe for a powerful counter. He launches his weapon's chain form right into the swirling chaos. This destroyer taunts him from inside the vortex, asking where he is even aiming. This destroyer is just confused, wondering what that chain is even doing, until it yanks him right out of his own attack, completely bound. Carias' weapon is now just a staff, the chain part detached, and our boy's mentor is holding the other end, looking unimpressed. He tells the villain he is officially out of chances, time for a permanent nap. Then he starts swinging the guy around like a human-sized flail, smashing him face first into the cavern floor. That is gotta hurt. This impact sends his scythe flying as the villain gets absolutely wrecked. He lands watching the smoking crater where his opponent used to be, then calmly picks up his weapon to deliver the final blow. But a flash of light zips through the air. It is the chainsaw flying right back at him for a last-ditch effort. Carius is having none of it, just growling for him to die already. This destroyer is screaming in disbelief, unable to block what is coming, and gets obliterated by a massive pillar of light from Carius's attack. From their hiding spot, the kids are just wondering if the S-Class light show is over. A lone silhouette stands in the massive cloud of smoke, and it is Carius clutching his chest but still standing tall. He tells the team it is safe to come out now, job's done. Li Fei immediately pops up, demanding to know what is up with his injury and the city. Carius tells them to mind their own business. He is busy trying not to die, and suddenly a tiny royal rat appears, ordering them to guard the cave. Li Fei's team just stands there, explaining they are actually here to help. This Rat King immediately starts bragging that he totally could have won the fight himself. Carius tells him to cool it, but the rat drops a bomb. A comrade is why he is hurt. That hits a nerve, with Carius vowing to find her and demand an explanation. Li Fei cuts through the drama, asking for a simple rundown of what the hell is going on. So the Rat King explains they found a red orb in the city, but it got away. Believing the orb was critical, they tracked the disturbance to this reef. Li Fei connects the dots, saying they came for the same reason after the turtles fled. It seems the mercenaries they just fought are also after the rock phantom turtles. Our boy asks the obvious question, who are these guys and what is their deal? This Rat King reveals they are the infamous Furious Wind mercenaries led by the Tempest God. With the story straight, Li Fei says the top priority is getting Carius healed. But a fist suddenly smashes through the floor. Looks like the villain is not done. This destroyer pulls himself from the crater, absolutely livid. He starts monologuing about his leader, the Tempest God, and how they are all just trash. This Rat King is sweating now, realizing he is one of the top 3 generals. This whole team tenses up, sensing his power is way beyond king class. Luoya sizes him up, noting the fight is unavoidable, but at least he is already injured. This Rat King desperately holds Carius back, telling him not to be impulsive. He warns them the destroyer is Saint class, only he and Carius can even fight him, which means it is all up to Carius, who he turns to find is completely passed out and snoring, earning him a royal screaming at. A tiny, furious slap brings Carius back to the land of the living. This Rat King is just fuming that his partner is useless at the worst possible time. So the winged girl asks the million-dollar question, why does not he fight? He puffs up his chest, claiming he is injured and needs his beast to be at full power. Sure, buddy. Admitting defeat, he says without Carius, he has got no chance against the villain. It seems there is only one desperate move left to try, and with that he bravely turns to run away from the fight. He glances back, maybe regretting his life choices just a little. But the winged girl flies up, refusing to retreat just because the enemy is hurt. She unleashes a golden energy whip, yelling for her pet to get ready. This destroyer just stares, totally confused by the incoming attack, and suddenly his transformation is just gone, leaving a shirtless dude in sunglasses. He is completely baffled, having no idea why he was depowered. At that exact moment, Li Fei appears, crackling with blue energy. This villain realizes he is in some very, very deep trouble, and immediately gets a 13-hit combo right to the face. Li Fei's combo sends the villain tumbling down through the cavern, but our boy is stunned to see his attack had almost no effect. This destroyer just smirks, sarcastically praising that terrifying power. He lands perfectly fine, so much for that epic beatdown. This guy even brags that if he had not reacted, he'd be paced. And then he has the nerve to ask Li Fei how he blocked the punch. Turns out Saint-class masters can just use their bodies to channel energy. He literally created an illusionary pipe to redirect the entire combo into the floor. In his little lecture, he explains brute force is useless against a real pro. Then he points and calls the whole team completely useless just for good measure. Not taking that lying down, the cat boy leaps in with a claw attack, only to bounce off the villain's giant snake beast, who is bored to tears. He is just in shock at how hard the thing's scales are. Luoya realizes the power gap is just too massive for them to handle, and suddenly she is hit with a splitting headache, completely overwhelmed. Her eyes go blank as she starts to lose consciousness midair. Then she just plummets from the sky as Li Fei screams her name. He zips across the cavern floor to make a desperate catch, scooping her up bridal style just before she hits the ground. At that moment, the destroyer realizes she was the one who broke his transformation earlier. This destroyer sizes her up, calling her debuff a total waste on them. He smirks, declaring their little adventure is officially over. With a massive lunge, the villain goes in for the kill, unleashing a huge shockwave that just bowls everyone over, sending the entire team, including the Rat King, flying backwards. This guy gloats that snakes eat rats and he is feeling peckish. But the Rat King gets up, fuming that his power is beyond their understanding. His eyes glow red as he vows to show them his real strength. Then he turns into a furry little torpedo of rage, launching himself forward, and for a second the destroyer actually looks a little worried. This Rat King lays out the plan. He will use a special move and they run on his signal. He summons a giant shadowy rat head, calling on the black mist, only to immediately scream at everyone to run. So his ultimate move was a speed boost for their grand escape. Genius. He is pretty confident they cannot be caught now, leaving the destroyer standing in a cloud of smoke, absolutely furious he got played. He orders his giant snake beast to give chase immediately, hopping on its head to ride it like a scaly, murderous surfboard. This cat boy looks back in sheer panic. They are gaining on them, and the Rat King blames everyone else, claiming he'd be long gone without these burdens. Li Fei calls out the Rat King's empty bragging while holding Luo Ye. Their grand escape hits a literal dead end, a massive wall blocking the path. This Rat King's brilliant advice is to just run straight through it. What could go wrong? With a mighty charge, they brace for impact. And somehow they phase right through the solid rock, still running for their lives. They find themselves sprinting down a long, ancient-looking corridor. Finally safe, the Rat King collapses, admitting they have shaken their pursuer but are totally lost. From a dark pit, a voice suddenly welcomes its new friends. Just as Luo Ye starts to wake up in Li Fei's arms, a giant turtle pops its head out, announcing they have stumbled into its home turf. Our boy can only state the obvious. That is a really, really big turtle. This turtle complains about the Saint-class problem, but the Rat King just gripes about them being late to the party. He then accuses the turtles of hiding deep in the cave the whole time. In a fit of rage, he orders the turtle leader to go out and fight the destroyer for them. But the turtle just flat out refuses, admitting they are powerless against a saint. This just makes the Rat King even angrier, demanding to know where their legendary power went. With a sigh, the turtle elder explains it all started a decade ago. Young members of their clan began vanishing without a trace, forcing them into hiding. Then the chief's own son disappeared, only to return corrupted and hostile. Standing with him was a captain from the furious Wind Mercenaries. This turtle elder explains the chief's son went berserk, blasting his own clan with a corrupted power-up. In the ensuing panic, the turtles tried to flee but were all captured by the mercenaries. And the one leading the operation was the big boss herself, the Tempest God. She'd created a superdrug to unlock their potential, but it burns away their life force. Seeing his people being turned into living weapons, the turtle chief made a desperate choice. He and the elder stormed the lab to swallow all the drugs themselves, a truly terrible plan. This chief chugged most of it, leaving only a small dose for the elder. This gave the chief just enough sanity to lead their escape before he completely lost his mind. So now this elder is the acting leader of what is left of their clan. As he finishes his story, a tiny turtle swims right up to Li Fei, who is very confused. This little guy just stares up at him with big, curious eyes, and then promptly latches onto his leg with a surprisingly strong bite. His team, of course, just yells at him for goofing off at a time like this. Turns out this is just a friendly greeting in turtle culture, a painful, painful greeting. This elder happily points out that the turtles seem to really like them as the whole team gets swarmed. Li Fei, now with a turtle on his lap, nervously tells everyone to look behind them. They turn to find a literal wall of turtles blocking their only way out. This elder gets all mopey about how their clan is a shadow of its former self, but the Rat King cuts him off, revealing they also fought beasts powered by a similar red drug. He then pitches an alliance since the furious wind is definitely coming for them all. This Rat King demands the turtles hand over their treasure to power them up, because that is how alliances work apparently. This leaves the turtle elder just staring, completely speechless at the audacity. Meanwhile, outside the hideout, the destroyer's snake beast senses the protective field weakening. This destroyer smirks, realizing he is about to be reunited with his pet. With a surge of golden energy, his arm begins to transform, morphing into a massive, ridiculous chainsaw blade because why not? He screams that he is coming for the stinky rat and smashes right into the rock wall, and with a massive boom he tears right through their magical escape route. Stepping through the rubble, he is a little surprised by what he finds. He is now standing in the same ancient corridor the team ran down. With a smug grin, he decides to see what is behind door number 2. Inside, the giant turtle elder stands guard, ready for the inevitable confrontation. This Rat King is absolutely losing his mind, screaming at him to open the treasure vault already. But the elder explains he cannot. It is sealed by royal blood or saint-level power, neither of which he has. In a full-blown panic, the Rat King asks if they are all just supposed to wait here to die. This turtle then reveals there is a secret escape tunnel, but he has one final request. He begs them to take the young turtles and flee, as the team gets absolutely swarmed by their new fan club. Stunned, the Rat King asks what the elder himself is going to do. He grimly admits he failed to protect his people and deserves what is coming. Turning to face the entrance, he declares it'll be an honor to die at the hands of a saint. This Rat King, not about to die here, unleashes his own dark energy, creating a massive, shadowy sphere that engulfs the young turtles, which then solidifies into a giant cage-like bubble right in front of Li Fei. And the Rat King grimly tells him it is time to go, no arguments, but Li Fei immediately protests, refusing to just abandon the elder. He explains that on his way to the island he found a dying turtle, who gave him a glowing green orb, hoping it would be useful. This elder's eyes go wide. He recognizes it instantly, crying that his clan is saved, declaring Li Fei the savior of the entire Rock Phantom Turtle clan. Our boy is completely lost, having absolutely no idea what he just did. So the elder explains the orb was the last act of their young chief and it is the key to the treasure vault. With that key they can access the resources to rebuild and grow strong again, which is all the Rat King needs to hear, screaming at them to get a move on already. This turtle elder still seems hesitant, saying he knows but prompting the Rat King to lose his mind, yelling at him to stop stalling. Finally, the elder gives in, sadly leading the way to their last hope. He tells them to look down into a dark pit where the water is stained red. It is a literal boneyard filled with the remains of his fallen clansmen. Something is churning in that gruesome, bloody water, and a monstrous red-eyed turtle in chains erupts from the depths, screaming for release. This Rat King cannot believe his eyes, asking if that is really the turtle chief. This elder explains that once his mind broke, the chief became a bloodthirsty beast. This guy ate so much of the local sea life they had no choice but to chain him in the basement. From his watery prison, the corrupted chief actually recognizes the Rat King. He immediately tries to make a deal: kill the elder, let him out, and they will be best buds forever, a totally sane proposal. But the Rat King for once shows some spine, refusing to betray his friend. This rejection sends the chief into a full-blown tantrum, screaming he will just eat everyone instead. Now totally out of ideas, the Rat King turns to the elder, asking what they are supposed to do. Their last hope is revealed: a royal tier pearl can open the treasure vault in a crisis. There's just one tiny problem: the keyhole is on the back of the rampaging, bloodthirsty monster. Hearing treasure, the Rat King is instantly ready to go, yelling at them to hurry up. His brilliant plan is to just jump the crazy turtle and force the vault open. This old turtle tries to warn him it is not that easy, as the team just watches. Of course, the Rat King is not listening, shouting they will figure it out after they start punching. With a mighty leap, he boasts he can totally take down a half-dead turtle, famous last words. He immediately flies face first into a massive surge of red energy. Landing on some invisible barrier, he is completely baffled by what just happened. This elder clarifies that only qualified people who pass a test can even get near the vault. And with things as they are, Li Fei has to face the chief's test all by himself. Our boy is completely stunned, pointing at himself like, "Wait me." This Rat King is absolutely baffled, yelling that Li Fei would need another decade to fight a saint-level chief. But the elder is dead serious. The only way to the treasure is to beat the chief one-on-one. He adds that the chief is starving and only at 10% power, so there is an asterisk chance if you ignore the whole insane monster part. For the first time ever, the Rat King tries to be the voice of reason, grabbing Li Fei and saying this is way too dangerous. He actually tells him to forget the treasure and just escape, a truly shocking character development. Luoyu agrees, begging Li Fei to hurry before the destroyer finds them. She grabs his arm, trying to physically stop him from doing something stupid. With a worried look, she quietly pleads for him to reconsider. But Li Fei just gives a confident smirk, announcing he wants to give it a try. This sends Luoyu into a chibai fury, shaking him and screaming that he is going to die for a guild he just joined. Our boy can only sweat bullets as his brain gets thoroughly scrambled. He explains that he really likes the Phantom Beast Association. Then he launches into a whole backstory about wanting to be a hero but ending up a corporate drone. But joining the association has finally given him a real purpose. Helping people, he says, makes him feel like he is finally on the right path. Besides, saving the turtles might also reveal the Furious Wind's master plan, a total win-win. This turtle elder is touched, promising their clan's eternal friendship whether he succeeds or not. With a jaunty little salute, Li Fei announces he is going in. And he immediately swan dives right down into the pit with the raging monster. This cat-eared guy just asks Luoyu if she is gonna try and stop him again, a bit late for that now. This cat-eared guy just scoffs that this hero wannabe is better off dead. But Luoyu is clenching her fist, desperately hoping Li Fei does not die down there. Even the Rat King is impressed, thinking this kid's rebellious sense of justice will make things interesting. Suddenly, a massive boom echoes from the way they came in, and the destroyer smashes through the wall, screaming that he has finally found the rat. His team is completely shocked, with the cat-eared guy complaining this psycho just will not quit. But the Rat King steps forward, saying he has to show off for his new subordinates. He proposes a quick team-up with the Turtle Elder, who is absolutely down to fight. With a grin, the destroyer charges, yelling he is going to smash them all to bits. Leaping to intercept, the Rat King readies his claws for that ridiculous chainsaw. Down comes the glowing red blade, aimed right for his head, but the Rat King just smirks and yells. Now, because the Turtle Elder was flanking him the whole time, firing a surprise energy blast from his mouth, this red orb of doom flies right at the destroyer's blind spot and connects in a massive, swirling vortex of pure energy. These two leaders stand back, pretty proud of their little combo attack. Of course, the destroyer just walks out of the smoke, asking if that is really all they have got. He lets out a confused huh, though, as something feels off, and Cracks suddenly starts spiderwebbing across his chainsaw arm. He stares in disbelief at his shattered weapon, asking what happened to his pet snake. From the shattered arm, a stone snake spirit flies back to its master, who is completely baffled why a simple energy blast would wreck his pet like this. This snake spirit weakly warns him to run, its power is draining fast and something is very wrong. Taking a sniff, the destroyer finally notices a strange, dark wisp in the air, and he immediately starts feeling unwell, clutching his chest in pain. He can barely breathe, demanding to know what the stinky rat did to him. This Rat King smugly explains that fighting is not their style, their real weapon is disease. Doubled over, the destroyer can only cough out the word disease. Then the Rat King launches into a whole history lesson about the good old days of the rat plague. Back when it wiped out 3/4 of the continent's population, a real nostalgia trip. Of course, humans eventually fought back with their own power and became dominant. But he clarifies they only defeated the normal asterisk plague, not his special blend, because what the destroyer just inhaled was a custom-brewed super plague. This guy refuses to believe it, yelling he feels perfectly fine and this is impossible. Smirking, the Rat King reveals he was infected the whole time he was chasing them. His speed-boosting black mist was also a plague incubator, and now he just has to wait for the symptoms. This destroyer actually starts laughing, admitting it is a pretty impressive trick, but he roars that it is not nearly enough to take him down, and with a massive surge of power, he blasts himself into the air. This Rat King is stunned, realizing the guy is burning his life force just to keep fighting, a total madman. This destroyer's solution is to just wrap his organs in pure energy, temporarily blocking the plague, which, according to the Rat King, has somehow made him even stronger. Luoya is freaking out, yelling that he is going to literally burn himself to death. But the Rat King explains this guy is a total zealot who could not care less about his own life. He realizes the destroyer is dead serious about taking them all down with him. And our villain, feeling better than ever, announces it is time for round 1, sunglasses and all. Meanwhile, down in the pit, a massive red spike erupts from the water, and Li Fei immediately regrets his heroic dive, realizing he cannot actually swim. He manages to find his footing, planting his boot on the surface of the bloody pool. After nearly drowning, he figures out how to stand on the water, crisis averted. This corrupted chief looms over him, asking if he is here for the test or just to be an appetizer. But Li Fei just gets into a stance, declaring he will beat him to open the vault. This sends the chief into a fit of laughter, absolutely mocking the kid's confidence. Undeterred, our boy steels himself, ready to give it a shot anyway. With a battle cry, he charges across the water's surface. This chief just smirks, calling him an absolute moron for even trying. As Li Fei sprints forward, the water around him begins to churn. Suddenly, massive red energy blades shoot up from the depths, trapping him completely. This chief boasts that he controls the very water and earth in this pit, it is his turf, and Li Fei is caught surrounded by a swirling cage of deadly energy. Li Fei realizes the bloody water is not just for show, it is actually corrosive. This chief just gives a creepy smile, asking how else he is supposed to eat. He explains his whole process: wrap them in water, suck out their essence. Once everything is dissolved, it is a 5-star meal and Li Fei is the main course. This monster even promises a quick, painless death if he just gives up now, what a gentleman. But our boy is having none of it, recoiling from the gross, sticky energy spikes. He is stuck on defense, unable to get close enough to land a single punch. Suddenly, a mysterious voice tells him the chief's weakness is under the water. And it is the real chief Ju Yan speaking from inside the monster with his last shred of sanity. This sane part of him urges Li Fei to dive, saying it is the only way to win. Then the voice just vanishes, leaving our boy wondering if he should trust a voice in his head. It is a classic dilemma. The water could be a trap, but staying up here is certain death. His hesitation just pisses off the monster, who thinks he is being disrespected. So the chief unleashes a storm of bloody tendrils, screaming he will shred him to bits. His corrupted face is pure rage as the attack swirls around him. Li Fei is completely outmatched, realizing he cannot even get near a saint-level powerhouse. A volley of red energy blasts shoots right for him from above. He twists in midair, barely dodging a massive orb of pure destruction. That orb slams into the water behind him in a huge explosion, and he knows he cannot keep dodging these attacks forever. With no other choice, Li Fei decides to trust the voice in his head and dive. He plunges straight into the corrosive, bloody water. This chief just laughs, thinking the kid is naive to try and hide down there, so he summons a massive water dragon, ordering it to tear him to pieces. This bloody serpent immediately dives in to hunt him down. Deep underwater, Li Fei is just trying to get his bearings, when he suddenly spots the source of the chief's corruption. It is a massive crystal spike stabbed right into the monster's underside. This real chief's voice explains that to free him, Li Fei has to push the spike all the way in asterisk. So the plan is to stab the guy asterisk more asterisk. Our boy is just a little confused by the logic, but he steels himself, announcing he will give it a shot. Then he unleashes a 12-hit combo punch right at the crystal. His blue energy slams into the spike with full force, which makes the corrupted chief on the surface absolutely howl in pain. Now he is completely enraged, screaming that he is going to shred Li Fei. But Li Fei realizes he cannot use his full power underwater, and this move will drain everything he has. He has a split second of doubt, knowing the stakes. Just as that water dragon reappears, charging up a huge energy ball, it fires the blast at point-blank range, and Li Fei is caught in the explosion, screaming as it engulfs him. Underwater, Li Fei realizes he is way too slow to dodge this blood dragon, but then a beautifully stupid idea starts to form, and he gives the monster a very universal come-at-me gesture. This, of course, makes the dragon extremely angry. It lunges forward with its mouth wide open, ready to chomp down, but our boy just sidesteps, letting the beast shoot right past him. Using its own momentum, he now has a clear shot at its master. Popping back to the surface, he yells for the chief to bring it on. Then he dives straight down, fists aimed right for that crystal spike. A massive blast of blue energy erupts from asterisk inside the chief's body. Completely drained, Li Fei can only hope that one shot was enough. With a triumphant grin, he declares that it totally worked. This corrupted chief just howls in agony from the internal attack. Suddenly, a second, uncorrupted head emerges, shocking the red one. This is the real chief's spirit, announcing he is taking his body back. His spectral form starts phasing right through the corrupted monster. Meanwhile, Li Fei is just happy to be out of the gross water. These two heads are now in a full-on shouting match over who is the real boss. Then the real chief asks Li Fei for help, offering the vault as a reward. Our boy points out he is injured and the chief is losing, not a great sales pitch. This real chief makes a desperate offer, kill his evil half and the vault is all Li Fei's. But the corrupted side just unleashes his saint-level turtle eye, a truly terrifying name. Li Fei is instantly paralyzed, caught in a crackling purple energy field. Above him, the monster gloats that only he will be the final victor. He even tries to tempt Li Fei, offering to open the vault if he just helps him out. Our boy is completely frozen, trying to figure out how to break free. These two heads are now in a full-blown argument about merging and digesting power. While the real chief calls him a mindless beast, the corrupted one just threatens to eat him. They both look down, with the evil chief scoffing that Li Fei is just a kid. But Li Fei is gritting his teeth, straining against the binding with all his might. With a massive roar, he shatters the paralysis in a burst of golden energy. Then he launches himself straight at the two-headed beast, not wasting a single second. A blue energy punch is already charging up for a direct hit. Even the corrupted chief is impressed by this sudden burst of power. Still, he calls it useless, snagging Li Fei midair with bloody tendrils. He's got him trapped, boasting that without the water to stand on, Li Fei is done for. Li Fei just gives him a confident smirk, saying, "Do not be so sure." And he summons his secret weapon, a tiny, fluffy white wolf named Xiao Bai. This little guy lands right on the monster's head, leaving the chief totally confused. Then the wolf sinks its teeth right into the monster's face, attack puppy deployed. That little wolf just rips a massive chunk out of the chief's face. While the corrupted half is screaming bloody murder, the real chief just looks on. And Li Fei uses the distraction to land right on the monster's head, telling the noisy beast to just shut up and die already. Then his heroic little furball leaps into the air, mission accomplished. Our boy scoops him up, promising him a 5-star meal for being the bestest boy, but then he notices something's changed. This entire blood pool has turned back into crystal clear water. Now free, the real chief looks baffled as Li Fei explains his genius distraction tactic. He thanks them, explaining he has finally regained his sanity and control. So Li Fei immediately asks for help with the saint-level problem upstairs. But the chief admits he is totally spent and can only manage to open the vault. Taking a deep breath, he gathers the last of his strength, and with everyone standing on the defeated monster's back, he gets to work. A glowing green orb materializes on Li Fei's chest, the key to the vault, which then fires a massive beam of energy straight at the cavern wall. It slams right into a golden, circular lock, which begins to click and turn, activating the ancient mechanism. And the massive vault door finally starts to creak open, leaving Li Fei to stare down whatever lies inside, ready for the next challenge. Inside the vault, it is a treasure trove of glowing pearls and coral. Li Fei and Xiao Bai step in, with the chief remarking on his clan's massive hoard. Our boy is just stunned by the sheer amount of bling on display. Then he spots the narrow-formed chief, asking what the deal is with the giant turtle. Nearby, a bunch of stone turtle statues are just crying waterfalls, which is not weird at all. This chief explains this is his clan's graveyard. They come here to die and cry out their life essence. After that one super depressing tear, they turn to stone forever. Li Fei is understandably a little weirded out, asking what this is all for. Apparently, the pool of tears can awaken a super mode, but it is a last resort. As thanks for saving him, the chief offers Li Fei any treasure in the room, but Li Fei needs a quick power-up, not a fancy paperweight with a saint-level threat waiting. This chief admits most of the good stuff is turtle-specific, so it is useless to him. While they are talking, Xiao Bai wanders over to the magic tear pool, and the little guy just starts lapping up the concentrated life force water. He is even splashing around, having the time of his life in the ancestor soup. This chief is floored. The wolf is absorbing the power without exploding. He explains that this should be impossible for outsiders, but Xiao Bai is totally fine. Seeing his pet get a power-up, Li Fei tells him to go for it. Then our boy decides to join the party, hopping into the pool himself. He gives a confident smirk, ready to see if he can handle the power too. So Li Fei and Xiao Bai are just relaxing in the magic ancestor tier pool, when suddenly his body is flooded with a searing red energy, and our boy just starts screaming as the power threatens to tear him apart. This turtle chief freaks out, saying it is too much and he needs to get out now. But then Li Fei goes full chibai, sighing that it actually feels amazing, which makes the chief absolutely lose it over the emotional whiplash. At that moment, a massive boom echoes from the vault entrance. This chief realizes the saint-level master from upstairs has finally broken in. Outside, Mr. Sunglasses is literally punching the air, demanding they come out. He's just wailing on a giant turtle shell, calling them cowards for hiding. Behind it, the winged woman and her crew are holding out, with a rat king gloating about a plague he used. This rat king is pretty miffed his super germs are not killing the guy faster, so the winged woman decides she is just going to charge in again. Her cat-eared companion grabs her, warning her that if she gets swatted away, they are all dead. She immediately puts him in his place and he just panics and apologizes. Leadership goals. This rat king notes how tough she is, taking hits like a saint-level beast. He then tells everyone to just be patient and wait for his plague to do its thing. But Mr. Sunglasses just scoffs, having overheard their entire brilliant strategy. With a smug grin, he tells them they are completely out of chances. Then he winds up for a massive punch to shatter their turtle shell defense. Mr. Sunglasses suddenly goes all chibai, stumbling around like a goofball. A glance down reveals the Rat King's plague creeping up his leg, but he just laughs it off, taunting the rat that his poison is useless. With a massive roar, his power flares back to life. He is totally fine. This Rat King is horrified, realizing the guy just cut out his own infected organs. That kind of regeneration costs at least 10 years of life, a truly insane gambit. Mr. Sunglasses just scoffs, saying 10 years is a small price to pay to avoid dying. Now fully recovered, he launches himself forward, ready to end this. His fist slams into the turtle's shell with a massive burst of energy, and he is actually impressed, complimenting how tough their defense is. Hanging in the air, he admires the shell's sturdiness for a second. Then he just starts wailing on it, asking how long they can possibly last. Inside, the Rat King is sweating, asking his turtle buddy for a status report. This turtle guy just snaps back, offering to let the rat take a few hits if he is so curious. This Rat King panics, hoping the now open vault has medicine for their leader, but the turtle has no idea what is inside, saying they just have to wait for Li Fei. He can only pray that Li Fei gets a move on before they are all paced. Meanwhile, our boy is just serenely meditating in the magic tier pool. His concentration finally breaks as he senses the battle raging outside, and his eyes snap open, realizing his friends are out of time. He has to get out now. This turtle chief tells Li Fei he is completely insane for trying to leave now, but Li Fei is feeling the power up, insisting he is strong enough to take the guy on. His turtle buddy immediately calls him out. That is just a power high, not real strength. This chief is totally spent and refuses to let Li Fei, his clan's last hope, die needlessly. So Li Fei clarifies the deal. Once he hits his absolute limit, he is free to go. With no other choice, he calls on Xiao Bai as a fiery aura flares to life. Now in some sweet new armor, he declares he will just speed up the absorption process. This turtle chief is having a full-on meltdown, screaming that he is going to explode. Our boy just grits his teeth, saying there is no time and he can handle the strain. He is clearly struggling against the massive vortex of power but refuses to back down. This chief is sweating, wondering if it is even possible, then realizes the wolf is the key. Turns out Xiao Bai is a universal energy converter, making Li Fei's potential literally limitless. And just like that, the entire pool of ancestor tier juice is bone dry. Li Fei stands up, wearing his pet like a fur stole, offering a casual "my bad" for drinking the whole thing. This chief just accepts it as fate, asking him to look after the clan from now on. With his last request made, he entrusts the future of his people to Li Fei. Li Fei promises to protect them as the chief finally turns to stone forever. Meanwhile, outside the vault, the turtle defender is looking absolutely terrified. Mr. Sunglasses is back, taunting the crew that he is about to smash them to bits. He smirks, promising a quick and painless end, right as a noise from behind catches his attention. Suddenly, a volley of glowing water bullets rains down from the vault entrance, catching Mr. Sunglasses completely off guard. He whips around, demanding to know who the hell is there, barely dodging the barrage that is tearing up the cavern floor. As he gets his footing, he tries to figure out what just hit him. This guy is actually baffled that he was attacked by water droplets. Yep, just a bunch of superpowered H2O, nothing to see here. And down floats Li Fei, making his grand, super dramatic entrance. His crew is absolutely floored by the glow-up. Our boy just apologizes for being fashionably late to his own fight. This turtle defender is literally crying with joy, feeling his clan's power in Li Fei. Li Fei confirms the chief passed the torch, ready to take this clown down together. Mr. Sunglasses just laughs, thrilled to finally have a worthy opponent. He calls on his pet snake, which looks way too serious for a snake, and it transforms into a massive chainsaw blade because of course it does. This Rat King is losing his mind, wondering why his plague did not work. This chainsaw snake explains that its master is made of iron, so he just cut out the infected parts and fused with his pet to heal a totally normal Tuesday. Now fully powered up, he challenges Li Fei to round 2. And Li Fei charges forward, eager to test the strength of a saint-level master. Li Fei kicks things off by summoning a massive water dragon, which immediately lunges forward with a roar to attack Mr. Sunglasses. This villain just blocks it with his chainsaw arm, totally unimpressed. But the sheer force of the impact sends him flying backward. He lands on the ground, calling the new skill a disappointing parlor trick. Li Fei just smirks, promising that was only the warm-up. Then he unleashes a whip of pure water, aiming to take the guy down. It smashes into the ground, but Mr. Sunglasses is already gone. Our boy is annoyed, realizing his opponent managed to dodge. Mr. Sunglasses is back on his feet, taunting that the turtle power must be draining him. Revving his chainsaw, he declares it is finally his turn to attack. But then he notices something. The water droplets are just floating around him. He is completely baffled, wondering what the hell this stuff is. From a distance, Li Fei confirms his little trap was a success. A cold sweat breaks out as the villain realizes when this could have happened. Li Fei explains the turtle's true power is not just controlling water, but turning it into weapons. These water beads are now sucking his stamina dry and he is starting to panic. With his trap sprung, Li Fei declares that the fight is already over. Enraged, Mr. Sunglasses orders his snake to go eat the kid for underestimating him. This snake lunges forward, instantly coiling around Li Fei and trapping him. This snake lunges to finish him off as his friends scream his name, but out of nowhere a hand just snatches the thing right out of the air, and with a massive slam it is instantly turned into snake paste on the floor. Li Fei is just standing there, wondering if he was just saved. When a new guy lets out a massive yawn, this dude stretches, complaining about what a great nap he just had. This Rat King immediately starts laying into him for sleeping on the job. Then he explains he woke up just in time to teach this snake a lesson. Mr. Sunglasses is shocked he is healed, but the guy just says a good nap fixes anything, which makes Li Fei's whole crew question the very fabric of reality. Now the sleepy guy gets serious, demanding to know what Mr. Sunglasses is really up to. Mr. Sunglasses tells him to come closer for the big secret reveal. So the guy leans in, still complaining about being tired, zero survival instincts. Suddenly, Mr. Sunglasses is covered in some kind of gross, pulsating parasites. He screams that he is about to expose their leader's entire plan. At that moment, he spots a figure approaching from the back of the cavern. It is the winged woman, their leader, looking completely unbothered. We get a flashback to Mr. Sunglasses as a starving man rummaging through trash. He finds a piece of bread, looking like he just discovered gold. And in his joy, he just shoves the entire thing in his mouth, a true gourmet. He is literally crying with joy over the stale bread, a five-star meal. From across the dump, a little blonde girl spots him having his moment. Then some random dude just runs by and kicks the bread right out of his hand. This blonde girl grabs him just as his precious meal goes flying. And then she just decks him, a truly unique way to offer help. Standing over his collapsed body, she yells at him to snap out of it. She keeps shaking him, trying to get him to wake up from what exactly? He is completely terrified, asking if she is some kind of demon. Suddenly, the winged woman appears, impressed he survived the girl's punches. She introduces herself as the king of this trash heap, a very prestigious title. He immediately calls her out, saying a blind girl cannot be king of anything. But she clarifies she is not blind, she just refuses to look at this garbage world. Posing on a trash mountain, she asks why they are all stuck living here. This kid blames the nobles, but she asks what right they had to kick them out. Was it because they were poor or because they were weak? She preaches that if money and power are the only rules, the world is broken. Right on cue, a guard shows up to tell the filth to get lost. These two give them 10 seconds to clear out before they get skewered. This future leader just scoffs, calling them self-important idiots, and with a smirk she turns to face them, ready to make a point. This guard charges forward, screaming that he is going to kill the kid. Young Mr. Sunglasses panics, yelling for the girl to get away, but she just steps in, casually deflecting the spear with a flash of blue energy. His attack is stopped cold, leaving the guard completely stunned. And a second later, his head is flying as he screams about a monster. She calmly starts counting while the other guard makes a desperate run for it. Right as she hits 3, the second guy just pops like a balloon, problem solved. This other kids are just staring, totally floored by what just happened. His little blonde friend is already a full-on fangirl, gushing about their awesome leader. She then gives her big speech, promising to lead them all to a better world. Back in the present, Mr. Sunglasses vows to clear the path for that world, even if he cannot see it himself. Suddenly, his body starts glowing with an insane amount of energy. Li Fei and the Rat King are losing their minds, realizing the guy is about to self-destruct. This sleepy guy steps up, telling his own crew to stay back. As Mr. Sunglasses goes critical, looking like a human son, his loyal bodyguard just hefts a giant axe for a swing and unleashes a massive shockwave that meets the explosion head-on. Smoke and debris fill the cavern from the insane impact, leaving the ground completely shattered in its wake. This winged woman is impressed, realizing he just blocked a saint-level self-destruct with a single swing. This bodyguard's crew is just baffled by the insane power gap between saint levels, but he is just annoyed that the fight completely ruined his nap. A new guy in a red cape offers to escort him back to the association for a debrief. This bodyguard just leaps away, refusing to talk about Inquater City. He claims the city is safe and the Rat King patched him up, so he has gotta bounce. As a parting gift, he tells them to check out West Kyudao Island for trouble. Then he just zips off into the ceiling, leaving everyone completely confused. His cat-eared friend is wondering why he is so cagey about that city. This red-caped leader connects the dots, something's up, and the island is the key. Agreeing, the winged woman says their mission was to investigate the island anyway. Right on cue, the turtle defender pops up, offering them a secret escape route. This whole team is just staring in disbelief at the supposed entrance. And it is a giant stone turtles, but a truly majestic family heirloom. They all immediately vote to take the scenic route by sea instead. Our turtle guide is genuinely confused by their lack of enthusiasm. This red-caped guy suddenly gets a very, very bad feeling about this, because a giant energy vortex just opens up in the statue's rear. It starts sucking the two guys in while the winged woman makes a break for it. This turtle just waves goodbye, promising it is a super fast trip. From a distance, the winged woman screams bloody murder at the turtle. Meanwhile, on West Kyudao Island, some guards are on a casual patrol. When the ocean suddenly rises right up to their feet, completely freaking them out, these guys are totally baffled, wondering if an undersea volcano just blew. Then a massive geyser of water erupts behind them with a huge roar, and out pop our two heroes, fresh from the Turtlebutt Express. This guards below are understandably losing their minds at the sight. Our boys make a less than graceful landing in the water. Turns out that fast trip was an hour-long soak, but at least they could breathe. This red-caped leader vows to never ever take that shortcut again, but they are immediately surrounded by guards demanding to know who they are. He tries the "all we are just tourists" line, 0% convincing. This guards immediately call bull since the island's been locked down for ages. So naturally they are branded as enemy spies and told to surrender. Right on cue, the winged woman swoops in on a giant eagle to correct them. Her whole crew is just clinging on for dear life as she knocks the guards aside. She introduces herself as an investigator from the association, asking about the lockdown. These guards are not impressed, thinking the rescue party looks a little weak. Our winged leader is about to lose it, telling them to go bother their general. Meanwhile, the red-caped guy is just enjoying the show, totally unbothered. Suddenly, a new voice tells them there is no need for all this, and the voice belongs to this absolute unit in a fabulous yellow dress. This guards are all bowing, calling him general, much to our crew's confusion. His soldiers immediately start yelling at the investigators for disrespecting him, while the general just strikes a pose, asking if they are jealous of his beauty. This entire crew is just screaming. Jealous of what? A very valid question. His guards ask if they should verify the newcomers' identities, but the general just waves it off, saying the island's been cut off for a month anyway. A whole month of radio silence. That definitely gets our team's attention. He explains all their messengers were blocked, but a friend sent a bug to get word out. This red-caped guy recognizes the friend's name, Milia, which makes his cat-eared buddy wonder why their kingdom never sent reinforcements. This general just chalks it up to bad office politics. His bosses want him dead. Our red-caped leader mutters that being his friend sounds like a nightmare. Now the general gets serious, asking what they know about the island's danger. This winged woman steps up to give him the full rundown. She reports everything she has learned from their investigation so far. He digests all this while sitting on a giant peacock, connecting the dots to Inquader City. But the red-caped guy says things are not adding up that simply. This general lays out the timeline. Attacks got worse, then eased up after Inquader. He concludes the mastermind's real goal still has not been achieved. This red-caped leader concludes they have to find the enemy's real goal. Right on cue, a guard starts screaming that the monsters are attacking again. Their general, however, just tells everyone to chill out and get in formation. His soldiers immediately raise a wall of spears, ready for the fight, and it is a whole mess of sea creatures charging right out of the water. With a dramatic pose, the general gives the signal to get ready. Our red-caped guy admits he is weird but seems surprisingly dependable. Then the general just turns and bolts in the opposite direction. This leaves our hero absolutely fuming, asking if he is even going to try fighting. He just grins back, telling them to shut up and run if they want to live. Now the whole crew is just yelling, wondering where the heck they are running to. He is just sprinting across the water, bragging about his top-tier escape skills. While they all struggle to keep up, he explains fighting sea monsters in the ocean is dumb. This only real option is to lure them somewhere they will be at a disadvantage. He then gets this ridiculously smug look, claiming he has got a plan for these losers. That pose is so obnoxious our hero just wants to deck him. But then he spots something massive rising from the water ahead. It is a whole high-tech fortress just sitting in the middle of the ocean. A closer look reveals its seriously advanced, almost alien design, and the general just sprints toward it, yelling that he is home. This fortress guards spot their general returning, yelling to get the gate open. Our red-caped hero is just silently judging this entire bizarre situation. A massive ramp slams down into the water, creating a path for them. And they all ride this makeshift elevator up to the fortress entrance. This general strikes another pose, welcoming them to his personal battlefield, just in time too as the sea monsters are swarming the base. He's bragging about his awesome fortress, and our hero has to admit it is pretty spectacular. This winged woman is floored, asking if all the islands are this fortified, and he gets all giddy, explaining this one's special, built with undersea or over 5 years. She is immediately suspicious, asking why he'd build a super fortress in a backwater town. He just denies bragging, telling her to ask his soldiers for proof, and one of his soldiers immediately confirms it, totally proud of his boss. This general strikes another ridiculous pose, admitting it is crazy but true, which kicks off a flashback to how the island used to be a total dump. He apparently showed up when the island was dirt poor, carrying lumber himself. Its people had completely given up, just waiting around to die, until he started hauling in materials and building a new home for them with his own hands. His dedication got everyone inspired, and soon the whole town joined the project. With more and more people pitching in, their lives started to actually get better. And a year later, the island was a thriving hub, but the general was still worried. He was so dedicated he'd even pass out dreaming of strengthening the island's defenses. This guy literally went diving himself and discovered a massive iron deposit. After that, he taught the islanders how to smelt the ore into steel, and then personally carried the massive blocks to build the walls himself. A soldier proudly finishes the story. That is how this fortress was born. Our whole crew is just stunned. This weirdo is actually an incredible leader. Back in the present, the general says enough praise, it is time to fight. He then just launches himself off his peacock, crackling with green energy, straight towards a massive sea monster that is roaring at the walls. Winding up a kick midair, he is practically a blur of motion, and just slams his foot right into the creature's jaw. He tells his troops to ignore the small fry and focus on the big guys, then pulls off another insane high kick, basically just showing off now. Seeing this, the red-caped guy starts stretching, saying he cannot just watch. So his team agrees to split up and cover the east and west flanks, just in time too, as all sorts of creepy sea creatures start scaling the fortress. When suddenly a winged cat-like demon beast appears in the sky, and it is diving straight for our red-caped hero. A closer look reveals it is a massive, fluffy agent of chaos, but our boy just smirks, totally ready for a one-on-one with a giant flying cat. This giant cat monster strikes a bizarre, mirrored battle pose. Our hero just laughs, telling the big kitty he is ready whenever. From the rooftop, the beast asserts dominance with a majestic T-pose. He charges up the wall only to find the monster has vanished, because it is right behind him, ready for a classic sneak attack. This beast lunges, claws out, aiming to shred his cape. But our boy just grabs its face, scolding it for being a bad kitty, and then he is immediately running for his life from some energy blast. only for the monster to disappear again, leaving him totally baffled.